actually deal in physical presence of money anymore. So I don't think that's necessarily the school system, but also their parents' way of teaching them how money works. Does that make sense?
It does, and I think that in itself is a little scary because we keep pushing towards digital currencies, and yet we're also, I mean, we have power outages all the time. In California, our grid can't handle the air conditioning running all summer long.
Yesterday.
Yeah, what happens when at some point in time there is either an attack on our systems, or we have large scale outages, and that happens to hit tech centers, which have to be incredibly hyper cooled. They draw all kinds of power from the grid. What happens if all of your money is tied up in some little card and nobody knows how to deal with cash, and or there is no more cash?
I mean, even past that, just working in a place where or going to a place where their credit card machine goes down. You know, if that's ever happened, you know, even the workers, most of them probably don't know what to do if the credit card machine goes down. They don't know you have to get the thing that you slide it over. And then even now credit cards don't have the embossed numbers. So you can't even do the sliding thing. You got to do something else that. There are a lot of issues that come up when it is all just digital.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. I think it's a complete. I think this whole thing was planned to dumb down the generations.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
On that note of digital cash, someone please drop Sarah a dono now.
I like her. Go ahead, Etta.
No, I was just gonna say I agree with all you guys, and there is no doubt. I mean, there's proof out there that there is a conspiracy that they are in fact dumbing down everybody. I mean, you look 100 years ago what the curriculum was, and how they wrote letters and what their English mastery was. I mean, it's nothing compared to what it is now. Okay, and it's also to put everybody eventually under complete 100% total control, because if you don't have the ability, say if you go to digital cash and you don't have actual cash and the grid does go down, nobody's going to know what to do. What are they going to do? They're going to go to government centers. That we see that now with grocery stores. People 100 years ago used to grow your own food. Now we're completely, if the supermarkets, they don't have food, we're all screwed. So it's 100% pre-planned that way.
Absolutely, and nobody knows how to grow food. Well, some of us still know how to grow
Beth
food.
Beth knows I know how to can.
Yeah, I know how to can. The Baldersons as well. They're off grid.
Awesome.
But kids now, it's almost a struggle for me to get my son, who's 17, to want to learn how to do this stuff. I can't get through to him that it's listen, that this is a skill that if things were ever to crash, you need this. And the way these kids' minds are, it's that's never gonna happen. And it's
the one thing I've tried to teach my kids is to be useful, because when you're useful, you will find a place in the market regardless of what the currency is. You know what I mean? They're employable, which is not something I feel like our schools and maybe some of the parenting styles hasn't really encouraged. I know Katie's boys get out there and work too, and I really respect that, because that's not a trait that I have seen as much with Gen Z kids. They aren't learning to be useful in the market.
And even past just some future grid system attack, you just have natural disasters that happen all across the country. It's just important to know what to do if there's a natural disaster and you don't have access to clean water, or you don't have access to food. You can't go to the store, your fridge is broken, you still need shelf stable food. You should still know some basics of how to make a fire if you're cold. There are just some things that are basic that are useful even in a modern time, because you still live in the world. There's still tornadoes and mudslides and floods, and you never know what's going to happen.
Ice storms. Yeah.
Ice storms. Yeah. Like right now.
Exactly.
We heat primarily with wood, and I thought my son knew how to start a fire better than he does. We got to have a talk. Duck, what did you have on your head?
What's up, my beard or my hair? I don't have that much.
You had something on your head, and it was hidden by the live button.
Oh, yeah. It's my elbow butt. My elbow butt on my head or whatever. Do you guys remember when cell phone cameras first came out?
Ducks,
Do you
as a
remember when
kind
cell phone
reminder,
cameras first
as
came
a
out? You take a
kind
picture of this.
reminder, you can
It's my
still
butt.
boot the men out of here. Jason coming in with a big 5 says, I gave a kid $40 one day and he gave me more back in change. Don't you love when that happens? And then sometimes I hate being a nice person and an honest person because I'm like, damn it. I can't walk away with this. All right, I want to move to the next topic. I saw a video on this the other day, and they were talking about how men have more privilege than women do. And I thought that was an interesting take. And the more he started talking about it, the more I was like, oh yeah, he's kind of right. Pardon me.
Right.
I think we should let the men start answering that one first. Just my opinion.
All right, let's ask the men. Duck, do you believe that men have more privilege than women?
Yeah, I would say aggregately for what society values, and just what civilization builds, men have more privilege. Men were predominantly educated in systems of higher education for thousands of years. The autodidacts, and the formerly educated like Machiavelli, or like Thomas Hobbes. They were all basically all men until the 19th century. And so even today, I think it's easier to open a bank account, open your Vanguard account, actually fund those accounts. Like those are all things that I think there's less barriers if you're seen as a male and you just kind of bring your archetype to the party.
Okay. All right. The Emperor. Ooh, somebody's got a bad feedback. The Emperor, do you believe men have more privilege than women?
Previously, but as of right now, I think you ladies got us beat. Y'all can have everything, do anything, and you can't do no wrong, mama.
Can we do everything or anything?
I seen y'all get away with just about everything, including my heart.
Aww.
I love him. I just replaying that.
It's like the dating game. It's like the love connection. Who's behind door number 2?
I don't really think that there is a preference or a privilege either way. I think each gender has its privileges. We have different responsibilities, we have different roles, and I don't really think that there is a privilege really in society at this point. I just don't.
I think when you look at the economic disparities between predominantly male positions and predominantly female positions, when it comes to work, women's jobs are often underpaid considerably. You have nurses, teachers, just jobs of caregivers in general are often considerably underpaid. I think a part of that is if it might not be purposefully connected to the gender of the people working those jobs, but I think that they are women's jobs and they are predominantly underpaid compared to other jobs that I would say provide, an equal amount of functionality to society. I do think that's an issue. I also, I agree with a lot of what Duck said. I also think there's a problem with medical research. I actually think there's a massive disparity between the medical research for men and women. There are a lot of things that are actually only researched on men. And even when it comes to women being included in medical research, they're often asked to come in during certain times of their menstrual cycles, specifically so that their hormones more closely match what they expect for men, because that is the baseline that they have for a lot of medical research. So there's actually a massive disparity between medical research for men and women. And that's also why you see a lot of confusion surrounding healthcare that is offered to women and how medications can affect women very differently from how they affect men. And that's not to say, you know, obviously, I think there are social dynamics when it comes to it as well. I think there is this level of protection, invisible protection that a lot of women are offered in society that gets overlooked. And that's not to say that every woman gets protection from every man, but that in general, you see people take more issue if a man punches a woman than if a man punches a man, because you don't hit a woman. You know, there's a level of chivalry that people are willing to offer women that they're not willing to offer men for, you know, what I'm sure we can all say are obvious reasons. Yeah. And I do think that's something that, I mean, I would consider myself a leftist. I think a lot of leftists overlook this aspect of, I would say, social benefit that women get in this way, because there are other social detriments that women experience or economic detriments that women experience. So I do think that's still worth bringing up.
Well, if I can ask you real quick, Big Papa, if I don't see any problems or issues, and I'm not saying that you're claiming there is a problem or issue with allowing men to be men, meaning the chivalry, for example.
No, of course. I'm not, yeah.
Right. And I agree with you in the fact that in our current culture, or what they're trying to create in our culture, to blur these lines of, well, men can't be men, because I mean, I've seen for the last 10 years society trying to castrate, you know, our men and turn them into soy boys, when there's absolutely nothing wrong with letting man be a man, letting him be an alpha, okay, because that's what testosterone, and that's what they're born to be. Now, does that mean, what they've done in our society is brainwashed all of us to think, well, then that means they're going to oppress us all and we're not going to have our own choice. No. When you have a truly two functional people, okay, who are emotionally healthy and well balanced, you're not going to find an alpha male being overbearing and controlling of his wife or girlfriend, and vice versa. I've seen abusive relationships, you know, where the female is, castrating him and not validating his feelings, or just be human, just be normal. Okay, but you could see it on both sides. Normal? So, and
what is normal?
What would be a healthy relationship and a well-balanced person? You know,
well, I don't see a lot of those.
Yeah,
or even if you're a gay couple, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's fine. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about two healthy, emotionally balanced people, whether you're male, female, male, whatever. The point being is that our society has been engineered so that we're all so traumatized all the time. You only reach like a certain level of like an emotional maturity, if you will, that it's always me, and you end up inadvertently hurting people around you, okay? Whether they're your family, your friends, things like that. So, I mean, it goes deep, but I didn't want to get off track. But real quick, and with the salary disparagement between the sexes, there may still be that. Now, I'm going to hold the women responsible, because talking with my son, for example, he's very assertive in being paid what he believes he's worth. And I know, and if you want to blame society or this or that, whatever, but the bottom line is, though, perhaps we sisters, all of us sisters, can take a lesson or two from our male counterparts. And be like, well, you know, maybe that's an attribute we can learn to be more assertive for ourselves.
And Papa, I know you want to jump in on that, but I do want to throw out the idea that the women's NBA league was assertive and made a big stink about it, and they got laughed at. But I will hand it back to you, Big Papa.
Because nobody wants them. Nobody wants to see them. They don't generate any money.
Well, I mean, I don't think
Well, and
we
that's what
even
that's what
raise
that's
men
what
and
Title
women the
IX's
same.
for. That's
I
what
mean,
Title
so
IX is
boys
for.
and girls aren't raised the same. So are they going to grow up to be the same kind of assertive?
They're not the
I'll tell you
same.
why they
But
still have
I
it.
want to
shouldn't be
hand it
raised
back
the
to
same
Big
because they're
Papa.
not
I
the
threw that grenade out there, but I want to hand it back to Big Papa because she had something to respond to Etta on.
So I do have a couple thoughts, but one of my big ones is you were talking about how, society has changed. Society's, in the past 10 years, we've been pressing this and that onto people and that it's actually changing how people behave. And if in just 10 years, we can change societal, like we can create a societal trend that changes behaviors, I would wonder if you implemented that during somebody's adolescence and all throughout their life, that would change their behavior as an individual.
Of course, because they're allowing kids to cut their breasts off.
And I would say if young girls are often belittled for being assertive, while young boys are supported when they're assertive, that would probably produce some sort of social response in that individual. So if we can create a trend just through society after a couple years, think about that over a lifetime of an individual. So I do agree, women should be more assertive in these positions. Women should be more assertive, especially in positions where they provide a functional service that is necessary. But I would also say that I don't think it is about their nature inherently. I do think some of it is about how they are raised and what they are told over their lifetime throughout adolescence isn't appropriate behavior.
Right. Yes and no. But my point
think,
is that what's dangerous is how far they've gone, where they're even blurring
I
gender
also
lines and
think-
allowing children to cut their breasts off. They're 13, 14, and they're allowing kids to
I don't know how many children you've met who have had transitional surgery. I personally don't have the numbers, but even just being trans is like less common than somebody being naturally a redhead. So the idea that you're meeting a ton of children, specifically that you have the numbers on a ton of children who are getting gender
you're not aware of it?
I'm
You're
not
not aware
saying
of the laws in the courts that have taken
I'm aware of the laws. I'm saying
have taken children away from their parents because they won't allow cross-sex hormones. You're not aware of that?
Right. I was trying to address the point that you made earlier. If you want to start talking about all trans issues,
is anyone up here a transparent?
But I
is
would like
up here
to.
I'm just saying. I'm throwing it out there.
Transparent.
Hold on.
Yes, we can hear you.
Pardon me, ladies, for just a moment. Let's hold the trans shift because I think Ahimsa, First Lady, and Beth might have, and Duck too, wanted to jump in on the privilege topic. So before we shift,
I would
just finish my point. I will try to be.
Go ahead.
I think when it comes to letting a man be a man, I think we should just let people be people. I think it's fine to open the door for somebody, whether you're a man or a woman, and whether the person you're opening the door for is a man or a woman. I say this as somebody who just likes being nice to people. I like opening the door for people. I like being kind and just considerate to my fellow person. I didn't argue that nobody said it.
Hold on. Let her finish her thought.
I'm saying when we say let a man be a man, I just say let a person be a person. And I think when we press men into this like very strict idea of what they have to do to be a man, we aren't allowing them the full expression of themselves, and we aren't allowing them to be themselves in their fullest. And that includes not allowing them to express their feelings, not being respectful when they do have feelings of pain, when they do need some consideration and respect for.
Isn't that what a mom's for?
That would be a well-balanced person.
I think if you're somebody or you're friends with them, you should be willing to hear them out on their feelings and be considerate to them. I don't think you have to be a mom to be respectful to somebody else.
Absolutely, 100%
what
agree.
Moms are for. Moms are there to be for their sons in a way that a father shouldn't be like that. A father should be making their sons tougher, and they live in a man's world. But you You don't think so? You just
No.
want a whole bunch of
I'm with
wussies out
Katie.
there?
I don't think
Right,
you need.
it-
I don't think
well-
a father being respectful and considerate to their child means their child is going to be a
Did
woman.
that- Did I
children-
just say they have to be disrespectful?
I
No,
didn't
they
say
have
you
to
said
raise
that.
them to be
What
tough.
I said,
Men
you
are
started
most-
arguing against what I was
Hold on,
saying.
one at a
What
time.
I was saying is that you should be respectful and considerate of someone's feelings. You presented an argument against what I was saying,
you ever
saying that
worked with
actually
men?
men should never do that. So
I-
I disagreed.
Maybe I could translate. I don't think she's saying we have to coddle men. I think she's just saying to be respectful of that nature. So if a male friend comes to another male friend and says, dude, I'm feeling really upset that like this just happened, whatever, bad thing, blah, 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 blah. It's like okay to sit and have the conversation and respect the
Yeah.
feelings.
Yeah.
You don't have to coddle them and
Sure.
say, oh, come here, little baby. You know, let's be a little bitch about it. I don't think that's what she's saying at all. If that sounds right.
No,
Buckaroo.
that does. Exactly. It's not about, treating them like a baby. It's just about saying, oh, I hear you, instead of saying, oh, get
Right.
over it.
But I will-
I've had friends who were literally suicidal, told their friends they were suicidal, and their friend said, damn, bro, that sucks. Anyway, do you want to play a game later? They completely ignored the feelings because they had no idea how to respond to it, because they had never had another man
And
approach
like
them.
Katie said, though, that's
And
what mothers
They
are
had
for.
never had another man approach them with their feelings, and they didn't know how to respond. They only knew how to open up to other women.
How are you?
There's a
It's
lot of
like
people like that, no
Yeah,
matter what
yeah,
sex
that's
you
what
are.
I think
but
it's
not
I-
fair.
I-
Hold
hold
on,
on,
hold on, hold on.
Hold on.
I
Let's
do
go
want to
one
address though that I was a single
Oh.
mom, and I'll tell you, you cannot be a mom and a father at the same time. You have
do
to
agree with
have
that.
fathers in the home. They play their role, and it's extremely important, just as important as a mother's role. And if a mom comes in and says, "I'm gonna beat your ass," is way different than when dad comes in and says, "I'm gonna beat your ass." Okay, I'm not saying that. Oh, I'm not advocating for violence or nothing. But when you knew you were in trouble, you took your dad much more seriously than you did your mom. All right, so there's certain roles that shouldn't be changed. Okay, because you can't. It's just is. Okay, that's what I'm more kind of talking about. And what I don't like, what I'm seeing in society today, is and they have been trying to change
Can't have
this
it your way.
into role stuff and crap, and it doesn't work, and it actually is extremely hurtful. And that's probably why men don't know how to respond in a healthy, balanced, emotionally balanced way to another friend that's in trouble.
Well, and
So
I was
it's
going to say,
pretty-
I honestly think the more that I hang out with men, the more I'm thinking that what was misread as them not caring was them trying to get him to go out and do something with them,
Yeah,
hang out with friends,
exactly.
and be his
That's
tie
what I-
back
yeah.
to reality. Men don't
That's what I thought.
go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, tell me all about it. They get you distracted by doing something productive.
Gaming.
You bro
Right.
bond,
Right.
you hang out.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what they were trying to do, not to tell him, oh, your feelings don't matter. They were trying to relate to him in a way that would get his testosterone pumping, that would get him doing something productive, that made him feel like he was doing something, and to hang out.
The best treatment for depression has been shown to be working out. And here's the other thing is that
Yes.
men are at a very big disadvantage when they start sharing their feelings within a relationship, because as women, I think that we tend to be rather brutal, and women can be very cruel in a lot of ways. And when men share that shit with us, right, it kind of brings down that respect level, our ability to depend on them. The way that we see them changes, it shifts a little bit,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it can damage the relationship hugely. I want to pass it over to Katie. She's the other boy mom on the panel. And then hopefully she'll move it over to Ahimsa.
I don't even know we went from boy moms to like relationships.
It all
Cover it all. Cover
Which
anything.
Well, I would say probably with relationships, I would more so think that that's the woman that you should trust all of your feelings with. Your girlfriend, or that would be the girl that you trust that all that with. Probably less so than your buddy or whatever. or I don't know, maybe you have a really good bro that you can share your feelings with, but most of the time that's not the bro thing to do. Now, as for men being like raising men up, yeah, it's good to have good male figures in their life, more to toughen them up, I would say. I'm not, and
Well, I think it's leadership.
and a female, well, yeah, they need someone who has a leadership, someone who brings them back down to reality of, hey, you know what? This world is cold and nobody gives a fuck about your feelings. Sorry. That's the way it fucking is. If you're going to get into business, if I don't know if you've worked around men, especially like construction or anything.
I used to load trucks.
Brutal to each other.
I used to load trucks. I loaded trucks for 2 years straight, and almost all of my coworkers were men. All of the drivers were men. Most of my managers were men. Most of my friends are men.
Women? Have you worked with all women? Now that is some snaky shit. I would work with all men all day long, every day.
I get along with men better.
Snaky. It is all
right.
I I'm pretty good all around.
I'm gonna let Ahimsa jump in with her thought, and then I'll do some super chats, and then I'll let the men answer on their behalf. Ahimsa, any thoughts to you?
Yes, I'm gonna say that women, by our nature, are definitely more privileged. I can carry two souls and one body. And also, to quote Beth Dutton from Yellowstone, do any of you guys watch Yellowstone?
I love Beth.
She who has the pussy has the power. You know?
Yes, it does.
It's not my fault other women don't know how to work that, but honestly, men want women to be women, and I want my sons to be men. That doesn't mean that I don't affirm their feelings. It means you get through them and you power through them. Just the way I've worked with all women, I haven't found them to be snaky. It depends on the women. I try to raise the game. If you're around me, you're going to play to a higher game. But men can be the same way. There can be snaky men anywhere too. I mean, we've seen that in the Panelverse. People who are too caught in their emotions, like, wow, like me because I whine about Sarah, like that kind of stuff. I mean, that's just so, I don't know, it's weak sauce.
You mean the emotional men of the patriarchy?
It's annoying. It's so not how I've raised my sons, But that's just my view. I feel like it's about the individual and what you bring to the game. Be useful. Be useful and you'll attract useful people.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thumping Weevil, we love her. I know she would be here if she could tonight. She will be taking time off from panels, but she'll be back soon enough. I am aware of this. She says, love you, Sarah. We'll be on again soon. I'm so excited when she does. Jason comes in with a big 20. He says the WNBA has lost money every year of their existence. Last year was 50 million, and the second 10 is for Sarah to boot any man who doesn't listen. So be mindful. I've got a 10 spot in my back pocket. And all I simply meant by the WNBA piece was that women, I understand that they didn't have that much of a leg to stand on, but they were still throwing themselves out there and being assertive, and they got laughed at and poked at, and so many jokes against women like came out of the rafters from that one. And it was just like, this is the norm.
That's life. But like, how many men have been made fun of for a dream they had for some crazy thing that ended up being some new innovation that changed society? Men get made fun of for their aspirations too. I don't think that's unique to women, and women are very successful in other sports. It's just nobody wants to pay to watch the WNBA for whatever reason.
No, I agree. Women's basketball is not exactly the exciting thing to do, but how much more often do you hear that you're, in terms of a female direction, you're just a girl, like what are you going to do, right? You've never heard that?
I've never heard that. I was raised with mostly men. It was me and my mom, and that was it.
Did anybody?
I have older brothers. I've never been told that.
That's
Nobody-
a Gwen Stefani song. I'm just a girl.
Nobody watched Andrew Wilson sit there and chastise me for being a woman, and that we never just trust a woman, and never like women just fuck
He's
everything up.
pandering to his audience who
But
all
my
are-
point,
There's lots
Right.
of men that are that way. Okay, my ex-husband
That's what I'm
is
saying.
very much that way. He thinks women need to sit down, shut up, or get in the kitchen.
Right.
They're supposed
So
to be
what
looked
I'm
at,
saying
not listened
is-
to.
And the fact that
What
you
I'm-
do your womanly duties does not get you extra.
what I'm saying is, even for instance, like my dad was very different with how he did things with me versus with my brothers, which I understand why, right? Like he would teach my brothers how to change the oil in the car, and I would be the one like, "Can you teach me too? I want to learn." It's like, no, you can't. Like this is for like I'll teach the boys to do, but you can't. Like you must be little princess, right? They totally like it did not work well for him because now I'm the one that does all of the tools and stuff with my dad and builds things and yada yada yada. But my point is that you said, Christine, you said that men get shot down for having dreams and doing stuff. Well, women get shot down too, but our shot down is typically met with because you're a woman. Not, and whereas men, it's like, well, that's just a crazy dream. Ours always with that caveat because you're a woman, right? And I'm just saying that there is a slight difference there. Now, I don't hate men because they experience that differently. I think I'd rather them have less of a battle because men do very well when they're innovative and they do have these crazy dreams. And we have the Wright brothers flying in the middle of the sky and doing crazy off the wall shit. I love that for men. But I think that the WNBA doing this was just kind of proof that that's what, and I only said that towards the idea that, women should be more assertive and ask for more money. And it's like, but
watching
when
women
we-
play sports sucks. Okay,
I
it's
like
boring.
ice
It's boring,
skating,
and
gymnastics.
I can't stand it.
Forget the
point something out
concept.
now.
You're not hitting the point that I'm trying to drill home. It's not about the WNBA. It's the idea that women said or tried to be more assertive, and this is what they were met with was
Well, because it's not fun. It's not there. It's not. It just doesn't work. Okay, there's no magic in it because it's boring, and
Ice
that's just it.
gymnastics.
It's not because they're women.
yeah.
It's just it just doesn't gel. It's just,
There's some
it sucks.
sports where the beauty and the magic is because it
They're
is something
women.
that was developed by women specifically. with this
Yeah.
But women's
Fascinating.
football is
This
pretty fucking.
gymnastics.
what people think of as a feminine idea, like with gymnastics, with ice skating, with ballet. I mean, these are
Sure, yeah,
predominantly
absolutely.
these have
Yes.
predominantly women in them, and
Right.
they are beautiful arts. And
Beautiful.
obviously,
Yes,
I'm not saying
yes.
that like men can't do gymnastics and all of these things,
Right.
from my perspective, but there's a reason there's magic in them, and there is this like art to it. They are exciting to watch, and they
I
are
totally
most
agree with that.
know?
That is an
It's
excellent
the
example of
feminine
where women
beauty.
excel in sports. Perfect example.
I do want to point out one thing, and then I'm going to pass it over to the Emperor. He's got a question. And this one's probably going to trigger some people a little bit. When it comes down to, I can agree that men have a lot of privileges, and I think women actually, though, have the one privilege that trumps every other privilege that we want to sit here and argue about between who has more. And that is that women are capable of terminating a pregnancy without a man say so. He can do absolutely nothing about it. While the family courts have come a really long way when it comes to custody, this is still a huge issue because there's lots of men who would like to be fathers and have that right stolen from them.
And
And there's
before
plenty that
you
don't.
throw that grenade in, let me do the last two super chats and then we will continue on because I know that one's going to get heavy. Jason comes in with a big five to say any guy's business who lost 50 million each year wouldn't be in business. I agree. I agree. And again, it wasn't the point. It was the idea that women were trying to be assertive and say something. And it was the idea that it just, the focus was on women sucking. Tom Carpenter comes in with a big 10, says, so basically we shouldn't tell men that they have to fit into a mold unless they are a man who fits in a traditional mold. Then we should tell them they are wrong. That's a good point. Any thoughts to that?
I don't know
That's
if anybody
true.
here made that point though. Maybe that's a response to what I said, but I don't take issue. Like I said, I'm fine with men who want to open the door for women and be nice to women. I personally just like being nice to people. So I've had men refuse to walk through a door that I opened for them. And to me, those are silly instances because it's like, bro, I get it.
I don't think that's what he's talking about.
I think he is. I think he's actually kind of probably on your side, Buckaroo. I think he's saying we shouldn't tell men what they have to do unless we tell them that they have to be traditional. Then we should tell them what they have to do, right? So I think it's like anti-patriarchy kind of rhetoric in a sense, or like you shouldn't tell men that they should be doing anything unless you're telling them that they should be alpha males and patriarchal, and then that's where you should tell them what to do.
No, but if they want to be, they should be allowed to be without being castrated by society and their mothers and everybody else.
I think that's more, and he's going to have to clarify. That's how I took it, is that he's saying that men aren't allowed to want those traditional things as much anymore. Like it used to be. Now it's all, strong women who wants equal standing and all of that.
Yeah.
I don't
Sarah,
think
Emperor had a
equality,
question for networking.
equality is not something
later.
that I think is true.
That's later.
Like you can't have equality. There's nothing equal under the sun. But I think people can be respected for the strengths and the beauty that they bring to a relationship. And that's part of it. But I don't like this whole equality thing. I mean, I don't want to be equal to a man because I don't want to be a man.
Right.
You
And
know,
who determines what's equal and what's not? I mean, that's based on your
Exactly.
culture and
May
a
I,
lot of
Sarah?
other factors.
Yeah, go ahead,
I
Emperor.
would say that we're equal, but we're equal in like different ways.
All right, so let me
only
just
one
keep it a
alpha
buck
in
with you
every
guys real quick. All right. So equality. Let's really think about equal. All right. Equal means this 10-pound bag of rice weighs as much as this 10-pound bag of sugar. That's equal.
Yep.
Okay. You put a 120-pound man and a 120-pound woman, you might have equal weight on the scale. You feel me? But now, if you want to analyze character, look at the rice itself. Now look at the sugar. Which one would you prefer? See what I'm saying? So you got a man,
I prefer the rice.
and you got a woman.
It's subjective.
So which one would you prefer, right? Now we starting to
rice.
get into why would I prefer the woman versus why would I prefer the man?
Right.
And that's all it's going to end up being is preference. There's no equality. There's no such thing.
No.
Or
Thank
whose
you.
skill
The only
set
thing
better
that could be
fits the
equal-
situation.
The only thing that can be equal, guys, and let's keep it a buck, is math. Math is the only thing that can equal something.
Yes, exactly.
All
All
right.
right.
And I'd like to welcome Lacey.
Matt.
Lacey, you are definitely new. I've never seen you before, but hello. Hello, hottie. Welcome, Lacey. If you want to tell us who you are, where you're from, or if you got a show, let us know what it is or whatever.
Thank you. Thanks, Miss Sarah. I appreciate you letting me come on. Yeah, it's the first time I've been on any panel. So I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Welcome to
Another
the club.
cherry pop.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah,
No, I
Sarah
just
got me too.
just recently started to, be in the chat on several different channels, and wanted to come up, say hello, and join in on Ladies' Night.
Hello.
Welcome to the party.
Awesome.
See, this is how you get all the ladies to your show. You offer a ladies' night. Cheers, Miss Katie. Lacey, are you like more right-leaning, left-leaning, religious, this patriarchy, matriarchy? Where do you stand on those types of thought processes?
I would say I'm a little more right-leaning overall, but I like to stay open, try to stay more in the middle as much as possible. But if I had to pick, I would lean that way.
That's fair.
I do engage in spiritual practices, but I'm not associated with an organized religion.
Okay, that's easy. We can work with that. It's okay. So, thoughts to you. I'll let you kind of answer the current question. Male privilege versus female privilege. Are there any thoughts on whether one has more than the other, or is there domination, or is it just kind of balance between the two?
Yeah, it's a loaded topic, as I've been hearing everybody share about. It's I do believe in, live and let live, and let people be as they're meant to be. I do think there's certainly a difference between the two sexes, and the way that they show up. I would say, the way that I act. Certainly is quite different than any of the males that I interact with. The way that I see my kids, I have both sexes, and the way that they just are in general is quite different. I don't know about necessarily privilege per se. I wouldn't use that word specifically between the two, but I do see that there's the difference, and that there's a level of respect for, different roles, the way that they are.
Okay.
Sounds like higher favoritism. Is that what you wanted to say?
No.
No, you don't think is it respect, or is it a higher favoritism towards roles?
No, I think more of a respect. Just let people. I'm just more of a let people be people, and if they want to lean towards specific, expected roles, if you will, great. If they don't, fine. To each their own, and what's going to work for them.
Can I ask a follow-up?
You are so politically correct. You don't want to.
No, I think.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Yes, yes, but I think Emperor. I don't think she's. Hold on, Doc. Listen to what the words I'm saying. Emperor, I don't think she's trying to be politically correct. I think she's what we would consider just a kind person who's not here to shit on anyone. And that is actually refreshing on these panels. She's not out to throw opinions out and throw people out the window. Duck, what is your question, sir?
Wait. Yeah, sorry, there's a little delay. So can everyone hear me on panel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yes, I'm just curious in times in the current times that we are in, where there seems to be more political radicalization, threats of regional and global wars. Do you think this conversation about male and female differences is amplified, especially in a place like the United States, where we do have more bombs and we have more guns than anyone else?
I'm
like
just
your
as
keyword
armed as
seems.
my husband.
I don't
I'm
see what the
sorry?
point is. What's the point?
Yeah.
Well,
like
the
the
point
word
was the
seems.
question, right?
Seems.
What is it?
Seems.
Himza's trying to say something. What, Himza?
Seems is the key word. Seems. It seems like that, but is it actually? I don't know. I know there's more media coverage, but I don't know that that's actually true, what you just said.
Hear me?
Yeah.
Am I unmuted? Can you guys hear me
Yes.
again? Am I unmuted? Yeah. So it
know
is.
what?
There's a famous phrase: "Exactly like it looks, exactly like it sounds." I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I hope you guys can all appreciate that there's always many ways to view situations, and it is precisely accurate to say that conversations about male aggression maybe are more. My political leanings would be conversations about male aggression are more consequential in times like this. And it's just interesting because live and let live is what Lacey said. And so I was trying to connect an idea to Lacey's idea that she had.
What's your definition of male aggression? How do you define that, and what are the limitations of assertiveness versus aggression, and necessarily it being male?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Sekdef Hegseth going around and saying, we're going to praise this warfighter culture, and we're gonna sanctify it, and we should encourage also people within that sort of definition of what a person is.
Who is that?
What
I don't
a
know
warrior.
what that
I'm
is.
sorry.
What
What a
does that
warrior
mean?
is.
What does that mean?
Well,
I don't know who this person is.
I was finishing what I was saying. And so when you say we have to see gender differences and define gender while we're defining a war fighter, to me that's something that's dishonorable and possibly dangerous. And I thought,
In what way?
to me,
But,
dangerous. I thought was
you
perhaps
still haven't defined what is aggressiveness versus assertiveness, and what is too. What are the boundaries
I'm
of
sorry.
too much? I mean, I don't know who this person is that you're quoting, and why would male assertiveness be a bad thing?
Yeah.
And why is it ever? I mean, what, and who, how can you prove who's causing wars or too much aggression? I mean, you're just spitting stuff out from some person I don't even know.
No, this is what I was saying.
This is
you can have
duck
it your way.
logic. This is
Yeah,
duck
so-
logic.
so-
This is what we hear a lot from him. It never
Okay,
makes
well,
sense.
yeah, it doesn't make
so
any
you can
sense.
have it your
I
way.
don't know what you're
This-
talking about.
Can I finish? So this
Yeah,
is what I was
please
saying
do.
earlier. So you can have it your way where you have this warrior culture that involves
What warrior
conversations
culture? What
of
what is
sex
warrior
and gender.
culture? What is warrior culture? You have not defined anything yet so far.
Well, you'd have to go ask Pete for that.
What
Pete,
is warrior
No,
Pete
you're the
Hegseth.
one who's stating such, okay, and so you need to define it.
Can I make sense of this situation?
No, Pete Hegseth said that. Did I not make that clear?
Hegseth said what exactly, and in
Who
what
is
was
he?
the context?
Who's Pete?
Hegseth. Okay,
is
so
the
Hegseth
Department of
is
War
the SecDef.
secretary.
Hegseth is the SecDef.
He's the Secretary of
Why
War.
is he valid?
Department
Why
of
is
War.
he even important?
He's
I don't
broke
even
the
know who he
emperor.
is.
So this warrior ethos, is that your question when he was talking about the warrior ethos? What's
He's talking about the Secretary of Defense and
Yes,
Yeah,
so this-
something about
This is
Hegseth.
just
their
one example.
personalities
Right,
that are in
right.
charge.
Yes.
Never mind.
So this
Correct.
is one example.
right?
So should we have
This
to
is
wait
one
until
example of
war
like where
this week?
gender and sex comes together.
But you're not saying much, Doug, and it's kind of
Yeah.
making me sleepy.
Yeah.
Get to the point. I mean, what's your point? I mean, so Pete
That's what I'm
Hegseth,
trying to get at.
The Secretary of the Department of War said that there's a warrior ethos. So what?
It's part
And
You would expect that from the Department
Right.
of Defense.
right,
We have to
and
be
what's your
warriors,
point?
or else we're not gonna
Right.
maintain what we have.
Right.
Just
Uh,
because
Let me
you're
justify
never
his
mind.
We're
job.
protectors. We need protectors in our society. Okay.
I agree.
Especially women, because we physically are weaker than men. So what's
I
the point?
agree. Jason comes in with a big 5, says women and men complement each other. They were never supposed to be the same. I 100% agree.
Absolutely. Ding ding
I
ding 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 ding.
Do not want to be a dude, but I
Can I go
also
back?
I also play in the men's spaces a lot, so I do have to dude up or man up to a lot of degrees because of where I exist in this world on YouTube. But yeah, Mrs. Balderson, go ahead.
I kind of wanted to go way, way, way back to
Mhm.
Big Papa Buckaroo. One of the points that you made way back when, and it was about medical care and men and women, and there being a giant favoritism towards men there. And I'm actually going to disagree with you. Let me just explain real quickly.
Yeah.
There's a phenomenon in medicine where men don't go to the doctor. And men's specific health issues are not studied to the same degree that women's health issues are. They may not be studying them in a way that's truly scientific, but for the most part, we know all kinds of things about menopause. Who's ever heard of andropause? Who's ever heard of,
Amen. Amen.
What?
Who said what? I didn't hear that.
So someone said amen. I was going to respond, but I don't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead. No, I just wanted to say that from
Men have
it's
menopause.
been true in the past, but right now there is way more money being thrown into women's issues. We throw a lot more money at breast cancer than we do at testicular cancer. We study women's things because women go to the doctor and we say, "Hey, we've got a problem. Hey, we've got a problem. Hey, we've got a problem," and men don't do that typically.
I
now.
agree to an extent. I also disagree a little bit as well. I take issue with. So my point is not that there are specific illnesses that are targeting women but aren't targeting men, or targeting men and aren't targeting women. Mine is actually illnesses across the board. When you get to things like heart failure, when you get to like heart disease, you just see more information about men and how they experience heart disease. Like a lot of people think a heart attack, you know, you feel something in your left arm, that might mean you're having a heart attack. But actually
what sources are you taking this from?
The symptoms of a heart attack in women are actually much less severe and very different than they are in men. And a part of the reason we didn't know that for so long is not only because it wasn't discussed, but because it wasn't researched as much, because men were the predominant, they were the majority in a lot of these studies done. So I agree, there are specific diseases and cancers that may affect different genders that aren't taken as seriously. And I do take issue with that. Of course, I think, you know, testicular cancer is serious. Obviously, we should research it. Obviously, if there's an issue that's affecting any major demographic of people, I think we should put money into it. I think it is just necessary when it comes to caring for humanity. But my focus, my comment was specifically about illnesses that do affect both sides, that just end up with way more men that are being studied.
I think at one point in history that was true, but I don't think it's true anymore.
Let me just add one piece in here. I think this is probably the answer for Miss Balderson, why breast cancer is more studied than testicular. I looked it up. Breast cancer is significantly more common than testicular cancer overall, being the most diagnosed cancer globally and in the US, while testicular cancer is rare, but the most common cancer for young men from ages 20 to 40. Testicular cancer also has a very high survival rates, but breast cancer in men, though rare, carries more mortality and is a major concern. So overall, that's probably why most one example, but it's the most common cancer worldwide and in the U.S. with hundreds of thousands of new cases annually.
So that was a bad example on my part. But
can I speak to the heart example?
Menopause versus andropause. Does anybody know that men go through the equivalent of menopause?
Yes.
Do men get? Many people don't. Most people have no idea that men go through the same thing that women do, because we talk about women's issues. So I chose a bad example with testicular cancer versus breast cancer. I'm sorry, that was a bad example. But my more commonly, I was just trying. But I still think that Big Papa explained her point, which was different than my point. So
I think you've made a good point too.
Yeah.
I just wanted to speak to the heart thing, because you were saying how it's more studied in men. Well, I think the heart thing is more studied in men because that's most men's issue. Most of the time. Most of them we're always under stress. We're always working constantly. And then with the way we eat, how we exercise, things like that, it's a little bit different than how women move. So I'm giving all of the examples that I've seen, my grandpas, my uncles, and then, you know, all the homies and all their grandpas and uncles, and how they had heart problems. And I think it's more common in men because of the exertion of work and body and lifestyle.
I don't know the numbers.
And if they're the primary breadwinners too, I would expect more studies to be done on that for a multitude of factors affecting society.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can see why it happens, but I don't know if the fact that they're primary breadwinners means they should be prioritized over the people who are giving birth to more primary breadwinners, to put it in your language. Like, I understand.
You're saying that it's more common for men.
Old
I understand. I'm not trying to say that you're.
Studies used to be done on more men back in the 50s but I think that's changed. The demographics have changed. But I'm curious to know what your sources for what you're quoting and stating as fact that men, and it may be true, but we have to be careful as to what time period we're drawing from, because back in the 50s, sure, there were mostly men, but a lot of that has changed now. So I'm just curious as to what source you're drawing from.
There's actually a whole book on medical research.
You're focusing on, you know, women should be looked at more, or, you know, men shouldn't be prioritized because they're breadwinners over life givers. Well, by the time that we're looking at the most common ages, for heart attack, we're done having babies, and our babies are typically of a significant enough age that now it does come down to the money and less about nursing and the younger years of child rearing.
All right. And let me read these real quick. Tom Carpenter says she's not being politically correct. She's a mom, and that's to you, Lacey. They understand the gray in the world better than the most. That was a kind compliment, I think. Jason also says, chat isn't a Duck fan tonight, but I'm giving you the lead way to embarrass yourself, Duck. Poor Duck. Tiny Lucy says, Mr. 503, you are missed and valued. Just saying. Who's Mr. 503? I think that's on Mrs. Balderson's side. And then I also want to send a shout out to Katie B and Cammie over watching on the Balderson side. Or I'm sorry, not Katie, Karen B and Cammie. Mr. Balderson needs you guys to make your way to the panel because he wants the truther ladies up here talking some shit. So if you know where to go, you know where to go. And Tom Carpenter says prostate cancer and breast cancer are within a few thousand of each other per year. Breast cancer is the single most studies disease worldwide, not just cancers. So there's that. Well, you know what? We love boobies.
There was also, that
agree.
is actually a good reference because there was a huge campaign specifically about breast cancer research that was like, I love boobies or I love, something along those lines. Yeah.
I am a breast cancer survivor. So
oh, wow.
this is, and I was taking estrogen replacement, and I believe that really, because with estrogen replacement, if you don't take it, you increase your risk of cardiovascular disease by like 25 to 50%, as opposed to raising your risk of, if you take estrogen, you raise your risk of breast cancer 25%. So it's kind of a gambler's game, and I was one of the ones that got breast cancer, and I was taking tamoxifen for a few years, which blocks estrogen completely. And now my triglycerides are through the roof. So now I'm more at risk for heart attack than I am cancer.
Wow.
On the point of research, so I think there are a couple points to be made. The first is that there was a bill that was signed by Biden in, I think, 2024. I put a couple links in the chat if anybody wants to look. There was a bill that was signed by Biden in 2024 that specifically allowed for more research to like women's medical issues. But as a result of one of the, I don't know if it was the bill that was signed by Trump or one of the other executive orders, but now if you have women as a specific focus in your medical grant or in your research grant and you're requesting funding from the government, you actually are denied.
Can you please show that?
Sure. There was actually a list released of all the words that you can't have in grant requests for research funding from people. But I also wanted to know.
And who made the list? I'm just curious. And is it exclusive to one particular lender or like?
No, this was across the board.
So Donald Trump made a list of words that automatically deny you from receiving a grant that have to do with women. And women's health.
Biden did.
No, Donald Trump gave a list. One of the words was women.
Okay.
It was explicitly the word women. But I will find a source. I will happily find a source. But on top of that, I was just going to say, when it comes to medicine, you also have to keep in mind that drug trials to actually get FDA approval take about 10 to 15 years to pass. So when you're talking about medication that's being used right now, it's from trials from 10 to 15 years ago. So it's not about what's been happening the past 5 years, it's about what's been happening the past few decades. And even then, even after drug trials, you might still see something else happen when it's released to the general public and you actually get like millions of people who are being offered some sort of medication versus the thousands or hundreds that are observed in drug trials.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And welcome back, my friend. Hey, guess what? Good news. You cannot be booted this evening because it's ladies' night. So
right.
nobody
Sounds
can
good.
boot you whatsoever. I know that was a nice little tennis match back and forth on kicking you off or keeping you here last round. But welcome back for your second time. Would you like to tell anyone about yourself or anything you got going on?
Nothing crazy. Just saw the ladies' night that I'd pop in and everything. Just got done making dinner. So yeah. So happy to be
All
here.
right. Fair enough. I'm going to read this super chat because it's a big one. Mr. Tom Carpenter says, with the Big 50 2025 NIH policy revived in 2025 to align with the new executive orders, states that women and members of racial and or ethnic minority groups must be included in all NIH-funded clinical research unless there is a clear, justified reason not to. Buckaroo to you on that.
Yes, they must be included, but that does not mean that the grant request is allowed to have the word women in it. I am not arguing over whether they said that they can include people in these trials or whether they will be included in the trials. I'm actually talking about the specific grant writing and the requests for grant approval, which is actually the process that researchers have to go through before they even start a trial, before they start any of the research. Researchers, this is actually a part of why, one of the reasons why I actually don't want to go into research is because grant writing is half the job. It's because you have to write endless grant requests and grant writing to get money from the government primarily so that you can get your research funded. So if there was something that was specifically funding women's health, for example, and you wrote the word women in your grant request, it could be denied because it was a part of the approach for, and to quote, ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing. So I actually linked the White House article that explicitly describes them going against the radical and wasteful government DEI programming or programs, and it was considered DEI to specifically focus on women's health in grant writing.
Now, hold up, because this list of words that you're saying can't be included, that is reported according to a Dr. Darby Saxby. I'm gonna go look at the executive order, but like so far, yeah, against DEI stuff perhaps, but like this doesn't.
Right, I mean, it's
against DEI stuff, and it was sent out to grant writers. It was sent out to grant writers specifically.
Yeah, but what kind of
grant
context? Because there's certainly a conversation to be had around the term woman and what that even means, given the kind of transgender sort of argument being made. Is woman not desired because they're looking at other terminology that's more inclusive or something? Like, what's the
like they want to call
This doesn't
vaginas
say what
front
you said at
holes
all.
instead of a vagina.
Yeah,
I mean, this is craziness. It's crazy.
Women is explicitly the word that is not allowed to be included in the grant request.
That now
Did Trump wrote this or Biden?
Ask why, but
allow me
women are not being charged for
allow me
rape.
to interrupt for
With the
one
girl
moment,
things. I don't know.
ladies, while you're all talking over each other. The Emperor, I have another lady backstage. I'm going to put you back in the back and bring her up for now. Thank you so kindly for being a
By
gentleman.
door number 2.
If I
Thank
may,
you
real
so-
quick, while we're making this change, the list of words that she is referencing is according to Dr. Darby Saxby, a professor at the University of Southern California. He says,
Stand by for just a moment.
Right,
Hold
in
on.
this, in the
Yeah,
NIH
hold on.
studies from Australia,
Hold on. I wasn't done. The Emperor, thank you so kindly for giving up your seat on the bus for another lady. We'll just put you backstage for now, and if another seat comes up, we'll bring you back up, okay? All right. And Queen Natty, hello to you. I think you come over from the People's Podcast, right? You've been here before. Right? Aren't you People's Podcast people?
Yes.
Yes, that's right. That's how she kind of found us from over there. You've been here once before, so no cherry popping session for you tonight. But Texas Bully Mom comes in with a big 10 to say, go. And all right, thank you so kindly, everyone, for playing. All right, I'll hand it back between Buckaroo and Beth. I think you were talking about the.
I need a minute because I'm going through. I'm actually reading what you posted, and so far it's not like what you're saying is. This isn't something that Trump wrote.
I did not say that Trump wrote it. I said it was.
You said it. You said an executive order. Yeah, you did.
Can we fight about something else? I wasn't sure if it was a part of the bill or if it was a part of an executive order, which is why I linked the White House article inside chat so that it could explicitly describe where the order came from. It is related to ending it was a part of the wasteful government spending program.
Maybe it was saying that you have to use the word
I never
woman.
explicitly stated
DEI
this.
And
I said this was from the administration.
This is to undo.
Is that
what
your
was
only
done
context?
This is just to undo what was done by DEI, and that does in fact include things like, of course, the gender situation that we had going on.
Right, which your research
wait. You present an argument and then you immediately walk that back.
I'm going to take a moment to kindly remind all of the ladies of the evening that we still rock this show one at a time, because when you all talk over each other, all it sounds like is and nobody knows what any of you are saying. So let's be mindful and respectful of each other and the microphone. All right.
Mind your manners, lady.
Thank you, Maddie. All right. Anne, I think you were trying to chime in on something there. I wanted to hear what it was.
Well, I guess I'm trying to push back on, hey, I presented a grenade and I need to walk it back. So you say that you have context to what you presented. So what's the context?
I explained the context when I said it the first time. I said this is a word that was banned from grants for medical research.
Women
for funding.
Do you understand
the government?
To what degree as to why that was, or are you just like,
yes, that's why I linked
this
the
is
White
the
House
term that I
article.
found, and let's throw it in.
I understand why it was. That's why I linked the White House article that
And
explains explicitly why that it was a part of the ending of wasteful. That's why I actually read out exactly what it said: ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing. I actually explicitly read that.
What's your interpretation of that?
You did not hear me say that. I understand.
You were disingenuous
got
how
in
you
there.
presented it.
I'm not. I didn't say the president did this. I said. Okay.
I feel like you corrected what
Do you want to own it or not?
Do I want to own it? What? The thing that I've repeated multiple times.
The argument?
I haven't unowned it at any point. All I said is that this is a part of the banned words that were sent about regarding grant requests.
Okay, so we're actually trying to tease out, well, what could that mean? And then you're immediately trying to walk that back, and I'm trying to actually engage in a conversation.
The context was already presented. That's why I find it a little confusing that you keep asking what the context was, because the context was the whole conversation that occurred before this was brought up. This was explicitly related to the conversation regarding women's medical research. Now, I stated that previously, Beth says no. Were we not talking about women in medical research?
Yes, we were. What I'm saying is,
so I am answering her question to me. I'm answering her question to me. I mean, it does, because it's about grant writing, which is explicitly about getting research funding.
Is it grant writing regarding women that are men identifying as women? And is that the hang up there?
For me?
No, I mean from stopping the grants being written.
Yeah, I mean, what's your interpretation of it?
I've got a woman's thing.
That's my interpretation of what specifically?
Why the grants they're stopping to write them when it has the word woman? Is it because of the trans issue identifying as a woman, or is it because women in general, their health is now being targeted?
I personally don't know if I would say their health is being targeted. I might say their health is being targeted if I felt like particularly inflammatory that day, but I would say more that it was, like I read, presented as an aspect of DEI, and they are challenging the concept of DEI, which is why I read the name of the article multiple times so that it was clear what I thought was the presented reasoning behind the banned words list in the first place.
What you
so
said.
Women is a banned word because we can't agree what a woman is. Is that basically it?
I'm actually not sure why women is a banned word. I can just tell you that it is. I didn't try to.
See, this is where you're walking away.
Explain. I'm not walking away. I can't read the mind of the people who wrote this. I can only explain what I think.
You certainly have an interpretation, which is why you've presented this as a talking point.
I've explained what I think would be the effect of this and why I think this is related to conversations explicitly about research regarding women's health. We were talking about medical research regarding women's health. So I brought up research grants regarding women's health. So I said, well, somebody mentioned previously that actually within the past few years, we've made great developments when it comes to medical research for women. I agreed for the most part. And I pointed out that Biden in 2024 actually signed, I don't know if it was in order or a specific bill, he signed in to offer more research to women, specifically for women's medical research, for women's health.
What is a woman?
And then I brought up that.
Can we get back to what is a woman?
Administration. Why? That's not even what the conversation was about. You want to talk about what is a woman. You keep saying you're
because it's contextual to the definition.
All right, let me read a couple donos. Maybe it'll help. Maybe it'll help a little bit. Jason says her argument is Trump did this. It means it's bad. Orange Man bad. You're welcome to you are welcome to respond this since that was a directed at you, Buckaroo.
It seems so obviously like it's such an obviously rudimentary analysis of what I've stated. If he can't understand what I've said and he wants to, if he wants to make an interpretation of what I've said without hearing the words coming out of my mouth and trying to understand my argument, that's fine. That's on him though. And him applying a rudimentary analysis of what I've said because he has obviously like some really specific perspective of me and everything that I've said so far, then that's fine. My argument was explicitly pointing out the change in how research will be done, like I was just trying to explain, like I keep getting yelled at for explaining, is that I said Biden signed in a bill.
You're being interrogated, not yelled at.
Okay. Weird to try to use the word interrogation as if it doesn't sound equally weird. But anyway, Biden signed a bill that said women get more money in research. Then I said Trump signed something that says women get less money in research. I explained explicitly why this was the point, and then everybody lost their shit because I said Trump. I'm sorry that you guys can't follow a single
No,
it's
out of your bubble.
My having a nose ring means I'm losing my shit because it's Trump. But maybe if you could follow a single logical argument,
hold on, ladies. I'm gonna bring a man up in this bitch to shut your mouths down.
As if I wouldn't yell at him too.
Tom said, right? Tom says
I would listen.
And if we could just let Buckaroo respond to these because these are directed at her, so it's on her to respond and not yours.
Thank you.
Tom says that statement word banned from grants is just factually untrue. Present the nuance without misinterpretation or lose the argument to you, Buckaroo.
They're words banned from grant applications.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You're lucky, guys. In America, you've got.
Hold on. I still have more.
I did explicitly explain this. It was from.
Guys, so lucky.
Hold on, Queen.
from grant applications.
I'm
I
next
think
to you, Queen.
actually it's shocking that there are conservatives and Republicans who would be against me for this, because I think this is regarding your right to free speech. And you guys this is actually limiting your access.
If you can't define who I am and what I am,
fuck on.
This isn't about you. Shut up.
As a woman, yes, it is. Absolutely.
And I'm next. Let Sarah do her thing so I can talk, please.
We're gonna let Buckaroo finish the because a lot of donos came in directed at her, and out of respect to the person sending the dono, I'd like Buckaroo to respond to them. American Citizen X. Why do I know that name? Where did they come from? I feel like they've been here before. I know a grant writer for the Department of Education. Buckaroo is right. They have limited our speech allowed for writing grants of freedom. Buckaroo, any thoughts on that? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, ask any researcher, ask literally anybody in scientific researching. This is something that scientists were up in arms about, because it was the explicit restriction of speech in grant applications. And I think that's ridiculous, whether it's regarding women's health. I think it would be ridiculous if Kamala Harris was voted into presidency and then gave out a list that said you can never have the word men in medical research, because I think that would also be harming the general public. I think that would be harming half of the citizens of America, just like having women on the list is harming half of the citizens of America. I think it is wrong.
Buckaroo, do you agree that not being able to define a woman is part of the problem?
And before you answer that, hold on, because Etta needs to make her exit, and we're going to be kind and respectful and allow her final thoughts to the panel, and then we will go from there. Etta, to you, my darling.
Well, thank you very much, and I had a great time. It was wonderful meeting everybody, and sharpened up my debate skills in a safe place, so I appreciate it. So I'm very interested in hearing more and reading more about this. So, Buckaroo, I put my email in the chat. So if you could send me this speech or word limitation, because I want to make sure I have the context correct in that Trump, and it wasn't vice versa, that the word female or woman couldn't be used in a research grant. So I'd like to, I'll look that up, and I'd like to verify that, because I'll talk about it on my own show too. So, because I am very pro woman, and with the research and everything that you're saying, I agree if it's true. I just haven't seen, I don't have the time to look at the evidence. But anyway, it was a pleasure meeting everybody, and thank you so much for having me on, Sarah. I greatly appreciate it. And the music for that transition and the transition itself was badass last night. So, okay.
Hey, that's actually, that video is over on the Gauntlet, and it has on the underneath the videos tab, and you can find it over there if you want to listen to it again or whatever.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining, Etta. We enjoyed
you. Having me. Okay. You're welcome. All right. Talk to you guys later.
Tomato, fierce and red.
This message is sponsored in part by.
All right. Shout out to Texas Bully Mom for doing that. We do love our little video interruptions sometimes to help calm things down. Cree Dog is backstage, but we've got Emperor, who was already waiting in line to take that seat. So Cree, you're gonna have to wait. I don't care if you come up, you're just gonna have to wait until a seat opens. Carpenter Tom says, if you want to make a rudimentary analysis of the executive order without understanding what it said, that's fine. Shots fired at you, Buckaroo.
Yeah, I mean, I understood what the executive order was about. I mean, I personally disagree with it, but I don't think it's because I don't understand what it was saying. I just think it's silly. I think he's upset that I said what his analysis was rudimentary, and now he wanted to call something that I said was rudimentary. I mean, that's fine. Come at me. I mean, I'm right, you're wrong. Done.
Really? I don't think you are right. Okay.
That's okay. You haven't presented a legitimate argument against me.
Can you not interrupt me for once in this fucking night, please? Maybe have a little bit of fucking,
Go ahead, Beth. Go ahead.
You guys realize
This is why. This is where I'll say, like, Pearl, what Pearl says, like, women don't like women, yada, 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 yada. And this is why we will only do ladies' night once a month, too.
Jesus, even when I tried to talk about heart attacks, she interrupted me like 5 times. I hadn't spoken in over 5 minutes because I was eating pizza. Anyways, so what this order says is it's literally it's addressing and walking back a lot of changes that were made with DEI and where was it here? I had it right. DEI and environmental justice, and things along those lines. And as far as the word list goes, this is something that was presented to news outlets again by a professor at the University of Southern California. There's no context as to it, okay? Now, if it wants to talk about something like, for instance, breast cancer, if they want to study breast cancer, maybe actually it does come off as a little more equal to just say, we want to do a grant to study breast cancer. That doesn't exclude studying it from men or women, because yes, men do get it too. But what you had said was Biden passed this to make to invest in women's health care. And then when Trump got in, he passed an executive order that pretty much undid that. That's what you said.
I did not say undid that. I said that he banned the word women from research grants. I explicitly explained exactly what I was saying. I sent multiple links. I sent multiple links as direct sources.
What's that?
Can I share my screen and share the list of words?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, hang on.
And while you're doing that, Tom Carpenter says, I'm not a conservative or a Republican.
There you go.
If you want to make a rudimentary analysis of me,
I don't know you. I don't care enough about you to make a rudimentary analysis.
If you look at these words, there seems to be a pattern with them. Like,
yes, I agree. It does all look.
Go ahead, Beth.
I'm just saying. I mean, the pattern kind of makes it a little self-explanatory. Maybe the other women on the panel can.
The pattern that's explicitly described by ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs, a pattern that's explicitly described by the article name presented by the White House that I've read out now multiple times. Yes, there's obviously a pattern. Nobody's challenged that there's a pattern.
But what's the implication?
Wait a minute. Hold on.
What's the implication of the pattern?
Hold on. My question is, why does it have female on there, but it doesn't have male? Is there like a reason for that?
My question is, why is it stopping at U and we don't get to see all the way to Z?
Here, sorry, I'll scroll down a little bit.
You.
There you go. W is the last word.
Woman's on the bottom. Bam.
Woman.
Women's on the bottom.
Male dominated, but that's
Women
it.
is
Doesn't
on
have
the bottom.
male.
Inequalities, inequities, institutional, LGBTQ, minority, multicultural.
Women is on the bottom right there.
Prejudice.
I really am very curious.
Like what I'm saying is
the implication of taking out the word woman. From Buckaroo, from your perspective, what is the implication?
She has valid arguments because the word male is not on there, and then the word man is not on there. What is that about?
I agree.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Also
You have female and woman, but you don't have male or man.
Well,
and
I don't
understand.
I don't understand.
I don't understand the context behind this necessarily. So I'm not involved enough to know what to say to it.
I would also consider the source. I would consider the source. This is also coming from a professor in a university in California, which
I've added another link.
Can we get back to?
I've added another link that actually the list was growing over time. I've added another link that is a more exhaustive list. If you'd like to see it, from pen.org, it's specifically an organization about the free expression.
Sarah,
I'm wondering again. I'm
want the executive order too, Sarah, or no?
I can just if I can just interject,
I'll just
go
say
back to
that.
Buckaroo and her original, claim or whatever. Woman was taken out of verbiage that you can use for grants. Obviously, you have an implication of a story, of a narrative, of a perspective. What is that? What is your story
And
that
I
you're
think
telling
there were
yourself?
So if you were following the conversation before,
No,
I took
sorry.
issue.
I was
I took
putting my kid to
issue.
bed. Sorry. I just popped in, dude.
Okay, I'm explaining
Yeah.
further. I took issue with the fact that there is earlier I mentioned there is just a massive discrepancy in a lot of the medical research that we have regarding women versus men, specifically related to Chrissy's placeholder. Her name's different right now, but specifically related to she mentioned that there was a discrepancy between like women's illnesses that specifically focus on men and those that affect women. And I mentioned that this is actually about illnesses that affect just everybody in general, and the discrepancy between the men and women that are included in the medical studies there. And so my issue when it comes to the grant writing specifically is simply that I think even if people take issue with the more politicized words like male dominated, like there are some phrases there that are considered more politically weighted than others, I would say it just seems pretty reasonable to me that women as a word should be included in grant applications, and that it is being removed can and will have a negative effect on research regarding women's health in the future. And even if that wasn't the purpose, it might be the future implication. That might be a future effect.
Okay, so you have also some delineation between Biden era and Trump era. Biden era is certainly marked on the inclusive nature of men being allowed into the kind of word of woman or whatever. These are males who transition into presenting as women or whatever. Now, how do you think that informs the word woman in relationship to healthcare and grant research in using the word woman? Do you think that has an impact?
I'm sure it does. I couldn't really explain. I couldn't really explain.
Okay.
Can I
that
finish?
was.
I couldn't really
Yeah,
explain.
hold on.
Okay.
Let her finish her answer, Buckaroo.
Sure.
I'm sure
Buckaroo.
it does have some sort of impact. It's a change. It's
So
like
why
a
don't you
massive
care?
Oh my God, let her finish her
I
fucking
haven't said
statement.
that I don't care. You keep bringing up trans issues. I was talking about something different, which is why I take issue with how aggressively you started arguing about trans issues, because I found it quite annoying when my point was actually not the point that you've been making. That is why I've been so rude to you, because you've actually been very unpleasant this whole time when I thought we were having a great interaction.
Because
before
if
this.
somebody is going
So if I
to
can
diminish and
if I can
if
finish
somebody's
what I
going
was
to
saying.
cloud up the term woman in how it relates to my ability to actualize that term in a legal sense, that does mean something to me. Absolutely, it means something to me.
And you're feeling emotional about this point. But if I can
Thanks
finish
for
my
having me, Sarah.
response-
I gotta jump off.
Oh, yeah. I'm a
hold on,
woman.
hold on.
Yeah.
Ahimsa, was that you?
Yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
jump off. There's snowplows driving my dog crazy, but thanks for having me.
Oh, thank
be
you,
safe.
Ahimsa. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye.
Good night.
I understand what you're saying. Like I said, yeah, I'm sure it does have some sort of effect. I couldn't explain like every nuance of the effect that it might have on research because I'm not a doctor and I'm not in research. I was just pointing out that the word itself was on a list of banned words from grant applications. When it comes to the research, I'm sure you think
What a
that
coward.
female-
She's such a coward.
I'm sure you think
actually
female-
finding stuff that's showing
I'm
that
sure you
the
think
banned words is
female-
something that potentially the people came up with themselves. It's looking like NIH is denying having a banned words list, by the way. I'm looking into it right now. So just letting you know. This is why I said consider your sources, because I'm looking into it.
All right.
I'm
Jason
sure-
Reeves comes in to say, which administration attempted to start a department of, oops, sorry, I hit the wrong one. Which administration attempted to start a department of misinformation? Shots fired. Tiny Lucy comes in over on the Balderson side to say, thank you for putting up with me. We love you, Lucy. Cree Dog says, yeah, nothing to do with men and women and all just speculation. He did nothing, but they don't like anti-DEI. Buckaroo, is this like a DEI agenda that's based on this? Because I feel like I'm getting two different things out of this. I feel like I'm hearing something about medical grants, but then I'm also hearing stuff about the DEI agenda. Are they two different things?
What do you, I think, sorry, what do you mean by that?
The executive order is all about DEI, nothing about what you're talking about.
I think you originally started with the medical grants, and there were words that you couldn't put into grant writing because of something that Trump put through, or something like that, with a executive order or something along those lines. That was medical grants, but then everything I'm hearing everyone talk about now is a DEI agenda. Are they the same thing?
It's just all research grants across the board that have government funding. And to be clear, the list actually comes from Head Start, which is a government organization that offered out the list. If you saw the second link that I provided, which I tried to explain before Anne started yelling, it's actually a more comprehensive list that explains more words that were added to be avoided. I'll send the link. I actually just pushed the wrong button. So this is the specific site. And then the link that I posted above, which I will repost, which I said earlier was an organization focused on the freedom of expression, especially on college campuses. It has a more comprehensive list.
When I asked you to send me the link, you said it was this executive order. This executive order addresses walking back the DEI stuff, not that. So that's where the problem's coming in. That's why everybody's talking about this now, is because
I don't think that's why everybody else is
what
talking
you
about
gave
it,
us.
I think what you're talking
the executive order you said it initiated the whole problem. I asked you for the executive order. This is the one you said is it. This is about DEI. And no grants for when it comes to DEI specific stuff. Not like, oh my Lord.
So this says
what is a woman? Can we just ask what is a woman?
My mama.
Hold on.
Okay, terminate to the maximum extent allowed by law all DEI, DEIA, and environmental justice offices and positions, all equity action plans, equity actions, initiatives, or programs, equity-related grants or contracts, and all DEI or DEIA performance requirements for employees, contractors, or guarantees. This is from the link that I sent. That's section I. Now, if you look section C under I, if you look at section 2, which is 2 I's, provide the director of OBM with a list of all Section C is federal grantees who received federal funding to provide or advance DEI, DEIA, or environmental justice programs, services, or activities since January 20th, 2021. So to be clear, what I linked was actually what started this whole conversation, because the actual grant, the link that I sent explicitly states that it is about the rolling back of DEI initiatives with regard to grant funding. That is explicitly stated. That is explicitly stated in the link that I sent. It explicitly mentions grant funding. I don't know what you're talking about, but you are wrong if you
don't know what you're talking.
Does not.
You're just moving the goalpost.
I'm reading the link that I sent. I'm reading the link that I just sent. That she's.
How do you can't conflate the two?
I can see the excitement on your face, Big Buckaroo. I can see the excitement. I can see it.
Hold on, just bear with me just a second, and I will hand it back. I have to tinkle so bad, but I haven't wanted to leave because we're not wearing our get along shirt. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave the Emperor in charge, just to keep everyone one at a time. Bear with me. Just go one at a time while I'm away, because if it gets crazy, I just have to step away. I gotta pee. The Emperor's in charge. Keep the ladies on lockdown. Beth, go ahead.
All right. My question is, did we or
She left a man in charge. Okay.
Did we or did we not?
Yes.
Did we or did we not have research into women's health prior to DEI?
We had some research into women's
health. We had some, but they were. Are you kidding me?
Okay,
right now?
we had some. We had some. That's the answer.
Just a
hold on. You can go next, and you can go next. And
finish talking.
Wait. Go ahead. Hold on. Wait a second. Hold on. All right, Beth, you finish, and then Ann, you can say your comment, and then Big Bucky, you can go next.
Grant writing right now.
Am I allowed to?
Beth, you actually had something to say. I think you should say.
Oh, I did say what I needed to. I asked you a question, and now I am pulling up from grantwritingandfunding.com exactly what you're talking about. Thank you, Joe Cool. You are awesome, as always.
You asked me what a woman is. A woman is a person who has a womb. Woman.
Okay. That's interesting.
If I could reiterate, the link that I sent to the White House article is explicitly describing the termination of grants or contracts that are related to equity action plans, equity actions, initiatives, programs, equity-related grants, okay? All of this, it says it explicitly. I also quoted it directly in the chat. In case you can't find it, you can click Control F, and then you can type into the bar exactly the words.
Any of this, I read it for myself, which is why I called you on it to begin with. Where does any of that have something to do with ending grants for women's health?
What I said was
it has nothing to do with that, right?
Was a banned word from grant applications.
And now I'm looking now.
You are seeing. You then said that grants were unrelated to the link that I sent, so I sent the paragraph where grants are explicitly referenced. What is your question now?
Okay. Do you have to avoid these trigger or banned words? No, this is a leak from one agency, National Science Foundation, and may not apply to other agencies. However, with the breadth of how this is going out from one agency, we do recommend that
somebody's fingers are going crazy over there.
Officer. Yeah, don't break your keyboard, honey. So yeah, I'm reading from the very link you sent me, by the way, with those, where it says, do you have to avoid these banned words? Trigger or banned words? No, this is a leak from one agency and may not apply to other agencies. So how do you respond to that?
The White House itself, I can read another link that I sent. It says that they
Jesus
didn't create a
Christ.
Bamford list, that they left it to federal agencies on how to interpret and comply with the executive order.
Okay, so basically these are trigger words. These are leaked trigger words that may get your application denied, is what they're saying.
Yes, and federal
Okay, cool.
agencies like Head Start, which I have already linked, a federal agency explicitly stated these are words that you should avoid if you want grant writing.
So if you
That
want to
is
get a grant, try
state-funded
not to use those
association.
words. All right,
Yes,
I get
that is a
it.
state-funded association.
That's it. It's just
that
to
is
try not
providing
to.
a list
That's
of
all.
What it
words
says
to avoid.
further
It's like-
down is that
It's like
these
tips or
words-
something.
What it says further down in that article is that these words will trigger a more scrutinous look at the grant that you are requesting, or your grant for, you know what I'm saying. It's going
All
to
right.
look closer
That's
at
fair.
it. Not that you're automatically denied. You're being disingenuous, ma'am. Stop that.
Okay.
So-
I'm
so
referring
what-
to specifically what this federal agency said about how they will interpret future grants from
No.
about grant funding.
And that's fair. And we
That
can
is
leave
why
it
I
right
linked
there.
the federal
Okay.
agency explicitly that gave this information in the first place, that provided
Yeah,
this
but
list
they
of-
replaced it immediately
You're
with the new
arguing
directive.
What
Go ahead,
new
Ann.
directive
You've been
are you
waiting.
talking about, Ann?
So they replaced. They had an executive order that went and said, "Hey, look, we're not about this DI shit," and then they immediately replaced it with a new executive order that said, "Hey, this is what we are about, which is a merit-based, funding program."
That's fair.
And so
I'm glad you've
so
presented
it's
an
not
argument for
about
once.
just exiting all these people. It's about recontextualizing how we find value in what we pursue as a government initiative for the welfare of all of our people.
And
She's
that's a
just
fair
cherry-picking
point.
which paragraph
glad
she
you've made
wants.
a point.
That's it.
That's a fair
Just
point.
cherry-picking what she wants. That's all.
All right, now moving
Well,
forward,
thank you
Sarah,
for,
welcome back.
Can I respond with what is a woman? Like,
Well, we know what a woman is. My mama's a woman. That's it. Period. Let that go.
Buckaroo, what is a woman? This is a term that you've been like sloshing around the whole goddamn
All right.
time.
It is somebody who has a womb.
Thank you, Queen.
Jason
comes in with a big
technically, it's a
five.
body ordered to the production of large
No,
gametes.
it's a
But
woman who has a womb. A womb.
Jason comes in with a
Some
big five
women-
to say, because no special interest group was singling out men would be my best guess. That makes sense for why the word men
I
wasn't in
disagree
there.
with you, and I
That makes
think
sense.
you're a little bit frustrated.
You're frustrated, Queen?
No, Anne's frustrated. She keeps
Oh,
saying-
Anne's frustrated. Anne does come in hot. I'll give her that.
I
James comes in with the big
I'm
10.
hot-headed. Okay, I'm Scottish. I don't know, man.
Oh,
Fair enough.
Get
James
her
comes in with a
pints.
big 10 to say +1 to the goal. Yes, thank you so kindly. Keep that goal moving, ladies and gentlemen. And Jason comes in with another 5 to say, and take care of our less educated liberal friend. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right. With that being said, I wanted to give Lacey a moment because she has been so quiet and our cute little mouse over here. I just wanted to give you a moment. If you wanted to add anything into that topic before we move on, I will give you the floor and everybody else will shut up.
Well, thank you. Can you guys hear me okay
Yeah.
with them? Okay. All right. Just want to make sure. I know I was enjoying the back and forth. I mean, I really wasn't too interested in the topic, just as it seemed kind of like everyone was just circling round and round, especially in the last 10 minutes or so, and it kind of wrapped up on its own. So I'm not gonna keep it going at this point. I think
Fair
it's
enough.
beaten to death. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Well, let's move into actually, Lacey, let me ask you, do you like politics, religion, culture, societal questions? What's your kind of like what is your interest?
I wouldn't per se say religion, but spirituality. I mean, certainly, religion isn't. What was that?
Ask a question.
Well, no, I want to because I have a list of topics and I want to pick one. that might be of a little more interest to Lacey if we get her talking a little more. So do politics interest you at all?
They do. I'm just mindful in terms of on YouTube and talking about it.
Fair enough. Well, let's throw in, this one should get lots of people going. Should women support the Second Amendment? All right, so we got pew-pews. Oh, we lost someone. We got pew-pews involved. We got men and women involved, so on and so forth. And it was funny, I heard this joke today on, I think it was like a little video on Facebook or something, where this woman said, you know what, we can solve a lot of problems because in terms of the mass shootings and all of these things, we can solve a lot of problems if we say only women can have pew-pews. Because 98% of the mass shootings are male involved as the shooter. And she was a comedian. She was being funny, obviously. And I thought, wow, that's actually hilarious. And then if we didn't have to worry about it, then we didn't have to worry about it. But should women support the Second Amendment? Mrs. Balderson, I'll start with you.
Absolutely. I came into my marriage with more guns than my husband had. There's no reason that a woman shouldn't support it, whether it's for herself or for others. I mean, my husband is going to use that gun to protect me just as much as I would. But also for people who live like Beth and I do, we live remotely. We have predators. We need guns. We have a bear that stalks our property. We have a mountain lion that stalks our property. We have bobcats and raccoons. I believe in it.
I agree with Balderson. I think you should be able to protect your own family.
Yeah, that's why we have it, is to protect our family, but also
if they don't want to get shot, they shouldn't be on your property.
Yeah, don't come up here if you don't belong, but yeah.
Fair enough. Emperor, should women support the Second Amendment?
Should they?
Yes.
I don't know. This is a tough one. So I know a lot of crazy ones out there that probably shouldn't have it. I'm just saying. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why there isn't more mass shootings by women, because most of them don't have a gun, probably.
Well, and that's kind of an interesting piece because essentially, I would assume most men would have pew-pews percentage-wise more than women, right? So women supporting the Second Amendment would be supporting the ability for men to continue getting pew-pews.
So we know Miss B has one. Do you got one? You got one, right? Sarah, you got one.
A lady never tells, especially a single mom at home.
Okay. So I would assume that it's mandatory for everyone in America at this point, especially now. And you don't have felonies, go get it before it's too late, before you get pulled over. Go get it.
You realize how lucky you are in America. In England, you're not even allowed to carry air spray as a weapon.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Y'all getting invaded. Y'all can't even get up off the block. Like nothing. Yeah.
Women aren't even allowed to carry tasers. They're not allowed to carry.
Oh, I heard of that. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
or like
shanks.
Pepper spray. You can't carry pepper spray either, right?
Women are getting assaulted in England every day, because they're not allowed to protect themselves. They're not allowed
to have the tools to protect yourselves. That's sad. Anne, what do you think? Should women support the Second Amendment?
Yes, I agree.
I mean, yeah, but I think we should support, we should support getting rid of the 19th Amendment and align ourselves with good men.
Stay on topic. Let's stay on topic. Second Amendment right now.
I think that's related. Okay,
straight for the
why
K,
have a gun when you can have a good man, and when you are kind of funneled into needing to have a good man, then you're going to make more judicious decisions about having a good man. And I think that's more important than having a gun. So
what's the
I don't know.
I don't know.
One that gave women the right to
That's
vote.
a pretty good argument
It's
right there.
a spicy
What?
take.
I'm
Absolutely.
English.
Let me
The amendment that gave women the right to vote.
I say
Let
it as
me
a
hand
single
it-
mom.
Let me hand it over to Ms. Buckaroo, who is going to also be making her exit from the panel for the evening. So give your commentary, your final thoughts. Everyone else, shut up.
I think women should support the Second Amendment. I think historically, the Second Amendment, I think a lot of gun control laws have been used specifically against. This is a bit of a grenade to drop as I'm leaving, but it's been used historically against minorities predominantly. I think we should support the Second Amendment, also just because it's in the Constitution. If you have if you have specific perspectives on gun control, I'd be willing to hear them, because I have no idea where I stand on any of that. But in general, yes, women should support the Second Amendment. On the banned word list, I wish Beth was still here, because I was hoping to say this also to Beth. I think it's reasonable to say I was using inflammatory language regarding saying it was banned.
There's a bit.
I still think it is practically interchangeable, saying a federal agency saying you probably shouldn't use this in any of your grant applications versus them banning the word altogether. And I think requiring additional I forgot the word, looking into it additionally would be, I think that's just obviously a sign that there is a different weight to these words and that they are words you should be avoiding. So I personally see it as interchangeable, but I think at least it is reasonable to say that it was calling it a banned word was misinforming, or at least burying the lead. And I think I actually do appreciate Beth's input. I think she presents a good argument. So that's it. Big Papa Buckaroo. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Awesome. Thank you, Big Papa. We appreciate you. And of course, Tom Carpenter coming in with Big 10 to say thanks, Big Papa, for coming, enjoying the interaction, wishing you the best.
Thank you, Tom. Have a good night, you guys.
Yeah, sorry if I was talking too much, darling.
That's okay. That's okay. It was her final thoughts, and we give way for final thoughts when people are talking. All right. And then we also have James coming in with a Big 10, says this conversation reminds me of the movie Back to School in response to Roman numeral 27, section 3, part 2 of subset D of the question. The answer is 4. And that leaves none other than Lacey and your thoughts on the Second Amendment. Should women support the Second Amendment?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. Considering, this is connected with the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. I mean, that in and of itself, yeah, I absolutely would support it. I mean, having the conversation of should women own guns, to me, that's a separate conversation. I'm certainly for that as well. But yeah, in terms of should we support it, at least I know this woman does.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So I think everybody on panel is in agreement. Does everybody agree women should own pew-pews as well? And be able to use
I think they should
use
have to
them?
go through the same requirements men go through.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Mental evaluations, if she's on depressants, probably not. Those kinds of things should apply.
Okay. All right. Well, that was an easy question. Everybody agreed.
Well,
all right.
all I'm going to say is I'm not always home. And for some weird reason, predators and thieves and people like that, they don't pick while you're home and standing there doing stuff to come. So if my wife isn't capable of handling herself to at least some degree, what's the fucking point?
Right.
Exactly, darling.
Mm-hmm. And you're not always with her when she goes out. All right,
You
the
want
panel.
to give your wife the strength to look after us, you and your family.
You do. I agree. All All right, the panel is still open. You can pop on here. We've got 4 seats left now. All right. More states. I don't want to do that one yet. Let's see. Anybody have strong thoughts on Greenland?
Yes, absolutely.
The
I have a lot of
Emperor
strong thoughts on Greenland.
and
I think we should take it.
all right, Lacey, do you know what's going on in Greenland?
A little bit.
All right.
I do.
Again, we know the context of the newest deal, right? You know, Trump came in all hot and crazy or whatever, and then what? He left with the deal with getting whatever base he wanted to build in Greenland, mineral rights, whatever in Greenland. Greenland also is going to get an injection of $400 million from Denmark for the people of Greenland. I mean, you know, this is, again, part of the deal. He did it again. Everybody thought he was a crazy mad king, and then he did it again with a great deal.
Can I say something from an English perspective? You're lucky to have somebody like Trump. I would swap Keir Starmer any
Hell
day.
yeah! If we could go and, you know, split them like an atom and then send one to the UK, love it.
Donald Trump, I'd swap your leader for our leader because he's a betrayer of our country.
I agree.
1% of Trump's net worth would change anybody's life. Just 1%.
Donald Trump cares about your country.
Now, this is why I think we need Greenland, okay?
Our leader doesn't give a screw
Now,
about our country.
you guys see where Greenland is, and you see where Canada is. You see where Russia is over there.
Yep.
All right. This is the Arctic War. This is the war. This is where the war is being fought right now. And the reason why our allies over there to the right, Norway and all them, they own Greenland, but they can't protect it through that gap because Russia can cut them in the middle.
At least Trump's trying to protect America. Our leaders aren't trying to protect Britain.
I agree with that.
And if we don't take Greenland, you see the positioning right there? Puts us right in the
I
middle.
would swap any day Donald Trump to be a leader of the UK than Keir Starmer.
Canada's going to fold under the pressure. They can't handle all that weight.
Starmer is allowing, he's putting up in hotels, gang groomers and everything. He's sold us out to the Middle East. Keir Starmer.
That sucks.
Your Donald Trump's getting them out your bloody country, and he's saying America comes first.
Absolutely.
We
Which is why I got all upsetty spaghetti with the, because, you know, when she talks about women, she can't even fucking define it. You know, it kind of irritates the get out of me. I'm like, what are you fucking fighting for? That buckaroo bitch that just left.
Whoa.
Oh, let's not be mean. Let's not be mean.
You know, well,
people listen. Let me give you,
incendiary. That's fine.
Let me give you one cue here. Especially if you're a panelist and you make your way to multiple panels, you don't want to leave on bad blood and then throw something out there that will create bad blood later, because then eventually you won't be able to have good faith conversations with people and it'll get thrown out and nobody will want to be around you if you just talk shit about them all the time. Right. And this is particularly, especially for panel hoppers, panel surfers, or anybody that it shows up on people's panels. Like, you guys disagreed and that's fine. But when that camera closes and people, and we especially don't talk shit about people that aren't here to defend themselves either. I'd be mindful of that one. That one will hurt you and bite you in the ass later. But we want to be mindful of how we interact.
I'll certainly take it into consideration. And totally Totally, I am here for feedback and stuff, but you know, I will go and say, you know, I gave plenty of space for them to defend a pretty, and I say them because you know what, they can't define a woman. So you know, I don't know what to say. You know,
I define a woman.
I just did. I said my mama.
Yes, they lived it.
All right. Lacey, any thoughts on Greenland and what's going on from you?
No, it just sounds like our president doing what he does, what I've observed. And, you know, he got out of it what seems like the intent was from the beginning. At least that's my understanding, you know, based on the results. So I guess we'll see, you know, how the world responds moving forward.
Yeah, that's fair. Mrs. Balderson, to you? Nothing? Oh.
I really don't know enough about what's going on in Greenland to have an educated opinion about it, if I'm being honest. But I also think we have a whole lot of problems to clean up at home. Spending money elsewhere is probably not our best bet, but that's just a off the cuff feeling. I don't know enough about what's going on that is that.
And if I could give my educated guess, so basically Greenland has a lot of resources and we'd love to be able to tap into those resources. And we want to make sure Russia and China can't tap into those resources. So it's so much better to have it under our control and then we can have those resources. That's my gauge on it. I'm not opposed to it. Divide, conquer, do whatever. I'm all for, you know, whatever boosts America and whatever they think will be the better bet for us as well. And any way to prevent China and Russia from doing anything of great value, I'm pro that too. So yeah.
And we've been doing this for the history of America. Okay, you know, we went to the moon the same time that we were dealing with civil rights. Okay. You know, we were dealing with treaties with Indians while we had the Louisiana Purchase. Okay, so making big moves within America is for the internal is our narrative. This is.
Yeah, I thought it was just me for a second, but I think you were cutting out for a second. If you want to start that sentence over after the civil rights moon.
No, I was just saying this is a part of the American narrative. So in the same way that we went to the moon at the same time that we were solving civil rights, the same time that we were dealing with Indian treaties, that we were dealing with the Louisiana Purchase, you know, we are all about, you know, the internal, you know, conflicts and dealing with that while also making big, expansive moves for the benefit of our nation and stuff. And you know, that's just a part of it and stuff. And we can't go and get bogged down. Yeah, sorry about that.
You're back.
Yeah, we can't get bogged down with you know, all the internal things that we need to solve. And having that loose scope with some of the bigger things that we can really capitalize on.
See, I agree with that. And I think we need to put the pressure on Greenland, not only because of the battle positioning will give us the edge on that area. If they get it, then we'll be in striking range and they'll be able to hold Canada hostage, and that will turn coat. Now Canada is on their side because, you know, Canada's not going to, with nukes, they're not doing that. They're going to be like, it's America, you can have them.
Made, right?
You know, yeah.
Two people have now said something about Russia. Was Russia ever trying to buy Greenland? Was that something that was up for grabs? I do not know. I'm asking because
Russia is in the mix and China's in the mix, or at least they're trying to. But America has been at the base there to repel both of them, so that's why they're trying to make the deal because they've been holding it. So,
but also, you also have to think Russia, China, and America are the three big kind of like the big guys in the world, right? And so if it's kind of like we're all sitting there looking at something, or like, who's going to do it first? Who's going to do it first? You know, and it's like because of the resource value there, I think whoever can take hold of it would. It's another
the
tool.
danger there is that we are so in debt, whereas Russia is not. So we keep putting ourselves into further and further debt, where Russia isn't doing the same things we are. We have more military debt. We have more international debt. We just
We've been paying for everything.
What was that?
We've been paying for everything.
Well, and we
then on
can't
top of that,
for it.
Getting this land and those resources is going to help us with our debt. Now we can put out more money.
How
You know
is
what
it
I'm
going to
saying?
help us with our debt if we're paying for a
Well-
military base?
Well, see, here's the thing. If we have Greenland, right, and there may be resources there, who knows? But at the same time, we still have a military budget. Now, that is going to be reallocated, obviously, to the Greenland area. But at the same time, that's going to open up more housing opportunities, because now people can go from America to Greenland, and then we'll have all of North America, and all we have to do is worry about Mexico. Now we can go on vacations in the Gulf of America. We can go on cabin trips up and you know what I mean? So, this is the beautiful part about it.
Well, here's
unity.
for Mrs. Balderson too. I pulled up and again, it's just a quick Google, but it says as of early 2026, Russia's economy has experienced severe strain, characterized by high inflation, labor shortages, and an overheating war economy. I was wondering about that because the Ukraine war. I thought there's no way their economy is good right now. It's a war economy relying on military spending. While avoiding immediate collapse, the economy is facing capacity constraints, slowing growth, and significant long-term structural damage from sanctions and war, according to these reports, whatever.
That's why Venezuela was so big. That's where they were getting their secret oil from.
Okay, so but back to what you were saying, the one thing I really don't have an opinion on Greenland. I just tend to be, let's keep our budget tighter because we're spending way too much money. But that said, the thing that people don't realize about Greenland is the same problem that Canada has, is the resources that we're after are really far north. They're in frozen land. What it takes to extract those minerals is expensive beyond measure. It eats equipment alive. Equipment is not meant to function in cold like that. If you've even been in like really, really cold states in the Midwest where they get wind chill, it's in the negative, on the regular basis, parts will fall off your car because it's that cold when you're driving down the road. So what we're used to in terms of cold, it's an entirely different level of cold. It's an entirely different level of brutal. And it's not a place that most people go on vacation. Iceland is a much nicer touristy country, if we're talking about that. Greenland is not really a place that's known for tourism. The two names are sort of flipped. So I don't have a great opinion about it one way or the other, but I don't necessarily think those 2 points were valid.
I like how you went there with the technology because. Go ahead. All right.
Well,
sure? Go ahead.
That's Venezuela, right? Venezuela didn't have the kind of product to extract their oil, right? They couldn't do it, and they couldn't do it as well as American companies, given the engineering and everything built up. And so that's why it makes sense to actually go in with another country that does have better technology and better product to extract and do all that work that would take so much effort from that other country to do. So that's where it actually makes sense. I mean, America, they've built products for they know how to survive, and not because we're around cold weather, but because we have a capitalist system that incentivizes that sort of entrepreneurship, and that's what we've built over many years, which is why
capitalism, not nationalism. You're talking about the country taking and footing the bill, and our country taking over assets in another country, versus an American company that is a corporation going in and running something more smoothly. One is one is entirely up to another country. One of them is us coming in and saying, we want what you have and we're going to take it by force. And I don't necessarily think
Trump felt a personal, issue of pride because Venezuela took over American oil companies when they nationalized oil or whatever, so many years ago with Chavez or whatever. And, it's the same sort of, it's an American company, even though it's through capitalism or whatever. And he still feels like, hey, look, there is a relationship between that being an American-based company and you took that over for, for your country's benefit or whatever. And we're coming in and taking in what is ours, which is an American capital company.
Well, before we get to Venezuela, I want to finish up on the Greenland thing.
Yeah.
I think
the
Greenland thing is very important because it opens up the use of our technology that we haven't been able to use because the countries up north, that space is already taken. We'd have to go through Canada, make deals with them to operate our cold weather information and stuff like that, which is why Alaska is such a good idea. See why they're doing all that research up there and they've been developing Alaska in that area. So moving over to Greenland, we get to pull out some of that stuff like thermal rays and things like that for boring and drilling that we haven't had a chance to use. And now we can experiment on further technology. So
And
I
I'd
think
like-
it's an opening. Go ahead.
I'd like to welcome our darling Ghosty. She made it for Ladies' Night. Ghosty, feel free to take a moment to introduce yourself, say anything you want to say, and then if you have a thought on the topic, go for it.
Okay. Yeah, hi, I'm Ghosty. Yeah, I think you guys all sound fucking crazy. Taking over a country isn't just like a willy-nilly thing. We can't just take over a country because we want something from them. This is coming from Trump, supposedly the greatest deal maker ever. And you're telling me he can't make a deal with a country that we are allies with to get resources from them and trade with them? We have to just take them over completely?
Greenland's not a country.
He made a deal. I mean, that's what
I actually think maybe he actually planned it this way. You go in with your hard deal, somebody's not going to expect, so that we don't have to pay to buy it. We just get to pay to rent a little space on their island and have our base. I don't necessarily think that he lost that.
This is his strategy all along. I mean, if you read Art of the Deal or whatever that book is, that is his strategy. Okay, so he goes in super strong, knowing that he's not going to get what all those concessions would mean, because that's the most sort of strong place that you can start, leveraging. Already made a deal. He gets to establish new military bases where he wants. They have mineral rights. Denmark actually has to pay the Greenlanders more every year. I think he walked out with what he wanted.
We already have a military base there, though. I don't understand why we couldn't just make a deal if we any other trading partner we trade with.
That's what we did, though. We made a deal.
And I believe Greenland also offered and said, look, if you want to make the military base bigger, please feel free to do so if that's what you need, right? So they did make some kind gestures to soothe the Russia/China worries, right?
Yeah, because they're part of NATO.
See, at the end of the day, Greenland is going to be a prime opportunity for us to dabble in our technologies, experiment, open up our whole battlefield. When I say that, that's why Russia and China don't want us there so bad. And they're trying to make deals with, who is that? France over there and Canada, trying to make some trade deals with them so they can keep Greenland. You know what I'm saying? So the reason why is because if we start practicing our cold warfare, they won't be able to stop us if we decide to go across the pond at the top. That's why I sent you the map so you can see how close.
Oh
we
no, I
are
actually
to
have
each
been
other.
studying that map because I have been pointing
Yeah.
that out to people too who've been saying that. I do understand strategically. It's right there on the border of Russia. I get it. I totally do when you look at it from the top of the map.
And a lot of people don't look there.
Right. No, I totally get that. I just call me crazy. I'm an old mom. I'm an old woman. I'm a grandmother at this point. I want to leave my kids a better place. I don't want to leave them more debt. I don't want to leave them more war. I want to be the strong guy. I do. I really do. But
We already got Alaska. Look,
Right.
we right there.
We can't afford it. We're spending money we can't afford. Somebody's got to hold the wallet closed and say there's no more money.
Miss Balderson, here's what you don't understand. Let me try to explain something. When we get the mineral deals and all that, our government isn't going to go over there and pay to get the minerals out. They basically sell it off to the companies that are experts in that, and then in return they get a percentage of it.
So
they're getting
America is
approval.
going to sell them the raw minerals, and then they're going to get some kind of return or royalties or something off of any kind of recurring stuff. Blah blah.
So
blah.
basically, we're going in and stealing the mineral.
We're not
rights.
stealing.
Wait. You guys just said that they're giving us their mineral rights. We didn't steal it. Whatever. We went in and made some deal. Now we're going to take the one resource that this country has on its own, and we're going to exploit it for our benefit. That's basically.
Well, we're going to make them millionaires, and we're going to make sure they're taken care of. We're probably going to make more cities. I'll probably move to Greenland. Why not? Hey, just wait till Venezuela gets all comfortable.
Everyone just
we can go get
cried over
jobs.
Snowmageddon. Like, ain't nobody going to Greenland.
Right.
That's a good point.
It might be nice. Nice cup of hot cocoa, a little fire.
Right. Well, and the fact is, and Jason knows this, we have lots of oil here in the country that we don't use. California's got all kinds of oil. I grew up around oil fields everywhere.
California's never going to get permission to
They
drill it.
stopped fracking, remember? Because the ground was getting unstable and sinkholes, so we had to stop. Y'all asked for
We're
it.
just going to go do it somewhere else. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, we have to, because y'all asked for us to stop.
It's
I
not
mean, that's
oil
fair, right?
it's not oil in Greenland though that they're after.
No,
Yeah,
it's
it's
Have
raw
everything,
minerals.
America. We can't have everything.
What else do
I have
they
a
have over
question.
there?
They have some of the rare earth minerals. I can't remember which ones, but they have some of the rare earth minerals that we need.
Yeah, for like missiles and cell phones and stuff. We can make American made, but we got to get America together. You know what I mean? All of America. South
gotta
America
have
needs our help too,
everything
but we're
everything.
overseas in different countries, and we need to go ahead and secure our side of the board, and then everything will be fine.
Who said they had a question?
Oh, I did.
Mhm.
I think it was Mr. Emperor. You think you mentioned about using more technology if we were in Greenland. What other technology were you referring to? I think you'd mentioned like thermodynamics, but what others are you referencing?
See, all this patented technology that all these you remember back when YouTube was super raw and they had all these guys inventing stuff and doing all this stuff. They even had the replication of Tesla's Arc thing, and this guy, he made like a water car or something, and then all of a sudden they disappeared. The technology's disappeared. Now they get to go implement these kinds of things because they have a space, you know what I mean, that doesn't have as much regulation.
Okay.
So now the development, and now they get to test the cold weather. It'll probably help with Elon Musk and all their space stuff, because when you go to space, right, it's supposed to be cold. You know what I mean? So this is just going to open up the doors for technology research, and we don't have to go to Antarctica to do it, right? If it exists. So there's a lot of stuff here, but
We
it's
have
a huge
Alaska.
rabbit hole. And you got to remember, Trump keeps saying like you've never seen, like unheard of. He's saying things that he's hinting that there's something that we have that
You believe
everybody
that?
don't got. Don't you? Roswell and all
He
this
says
other
that with
conspiracy stuff?
everything. The best ever, the biggest
Okay.
ever.
How do we go from
The
how
first
do we
time
go
in
from a
history
scratching
ever.
a record player to a CD, then to we online? Now we doing this like
Sarah,
that.
Sarah, to answer your earlier question, I just looked it up and it's minerals I can't pronounce, but basically it's a lot of the rare earth minerals that China has that they're trying to cut the rest of the world off from right now. So basically we're making ourselves where we're not so reliant on China.
Fair enough.
Trade war 2.
Isn't that a good thing?
that
I
we're
think
doing what
so.
we're doing?
Oh, that's a
Probably.
great thing to me. But
Yeah.
It's debatable.
Debatable. You guys wanted to shift it into the Venezuela talking
Oh,
point.
yeah.
I
This is
will allow
beautiful.
that to open up. And actually, before we do, I have officially launched off the gauntlet. We're going to be shifting over there for the rest of the evening. This way, it's going to be, you guys can get a little more crazy. And men, we welcome you up with open arms, but you still can't boot the ladies, okay? But yeah, we've got more spots. They've got 2 more spots available. Feel free to do so. If you know where the gauntlet is, please start making your way over there now. I'm going to set up a couple things and then I'll shut down Tomato and move officially to gauntlet. All right, Venezuela.
And if any ladies
Jason's
come up
gonna
there,
love
I'll go in the
this.
back.
Okay.
Hey, Jason, I think you're going to love this one. Think about it. Golf of America, beach tours. Think about it. Beach tours all the way through the Panama. You can cruise. Bro, do you know how clean this would be? And then we'll be able to get houses in Venezuela right off the coast. Woo! It'll be safe. We'll make America great for once, right? I can't wait to get my little umbrella.
I don't really have any desire. I've been down there before. I don't really have any desire to go back.
Well, I mean, but if it gets better though,
I still don't have any desire to go back.
he don't like the beaches. He don't want the bronze.
No, I love the beach. I just don't have any desire to go back there.
Well, yeah.
I'm kind of wondering what everybody's opinion on is, they got out Maduro, but they have that, they still kind of technically have his regime in place, right? It seems like they kind of some certain deals to continue Maduro's regime, but just in a more, kind of participatory way. So America has more of a say in the current regime. I mean, what do people feel like when it comes to that? Has there been a regime change? If not, what do you think the actual ramification difference is with Maduro gone versus whatever his second-hand man is, and
Actually, it's a woman.
would you think of doing something differently than what they did and what they're trying to kind of do now?
So what they did, which is what we always do, my wife's eating, so I'm replacing her for a minute, is we went in and destroyed their infrastructure. So that way we can so kindly go back in and rebuild the infrastructure and extract the resources, which is the only thing of value the country has. And we get to
how did we destroy their infrastructure?
That's funny. That reminds me of Gaza.
Over and over and over. You can look at like Libya. Libya had the highest.
You can look at Gaza. Look at
Hold on. Allow me to actually give the reminder that this is still ladies' night and ladies have priority.
I identify as a lady.
Oh my fucking God, Manor.
Sarah, don't forget you have the $10 boot.
True, never defined a woman.
Manor, just so you know, I have a $10 credit to boot anyone I want at any given time. I have yet to use it, but you will give me plenty of reasons to do so if you don't fix yourself, sir. All right. Kind reminder, this is ladies' night. If a lady starts talking, the men shut up. Okay, that's how
Sarah,
we're going to run
lady?
this.
I'm just kidding.
Well, let me just say who is the lady. We got the lovely Lacey. By the way, I just want to take a moment to do this. She's really pretty. She's been like hanging out in the chat, hiding all of this from us. Like, what the fuck? You know what, Lacey? Just join every night. I don't care if you say anything or you don't say anything. Just be here. Just be here. You could say anything you want. You could say chicken, fried rice, spaghetti, and meatballs, and I would be okay with it.
That sounds good.
And then we also have the lovely Miss Ghosty joining us from the underworld. It looks like
terrifying.
red lights. You look beautiful tonight, by the way. You wear like you got your little off the shoulder just enough shirt going on. Just
I'm in a cozy
enough.
mode.
You
Yeah, she
look
looks
cozy. She looks cozy. And then of course our darling Anne, who likes to fuck shit up. And I know she likes that compliment.
gang.
This is her second time here on the panel, and she's already just destroying people left, right, and center. She's lucky she can't be booted tonight because I have a feeling, that would probably be happening. And she's back, the lovely Mrs.
B in the
Balderson.
building.
Do not let her confuse you. She is sweet as pie until. Don't fuck with the lovely Mrs. Balderson because she will fuck you up. And then, of course, you have me. You all already know me. You already see me at the solo screen out when I'm yelling at you, so I don't feel the need to do so. Anyways, those are the ladies. And if any other ladies, Beth lost Wi-Fi, her shit, or the storm and everything. So
is that what happened with her? Okay.
Yeah, if she comes back, great. If she doesn't, and I don't. Katie dropped off too. I don't know where she.
Katie said her internet was messing up too, Sarah.
Okay, fair enough. I expect everyone to be dealing with the storm and yada yada yada, so that's fine. Okay, the gauntlet is officially open. Please start making your way over there now. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Either make your way through that link or catch the raid over. I think I set up the raid already. I am closing out on the Raging Tomatoes side now.
Sarah, I've always wanted to ask, when you raid, is it better for your stats if people follow the raid or if they click on your channel independently?
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
Actually, I do think it would be better if they find the channel on their own, because the algorithm doesn't pick it up as a raid over. It picks it up as, oh, I like this channel. I'm subscribed to this channel. I'm going to go click on this channel, right? So it's like an independent thought. So maybe that is the case. That would be my best guess, but. If people follow one way or the other, doesn't make any difference to me. All right. Now, Venezuela, my apologies for the brief change up there. Back to you.
Venezuela. It sounds good. It sounds real good. I mean, think about just in general how much freedom and success our country would have. Not only the oil, but it would bring all of the cultures closer together because we would have more of a open mind. So the stipulations towards our differences might change a little bit. We'll see each other because there's a lot of dark people down there too. We'll see each other more on a equal level, even though equal is not really a term you can use in society. That's more like a math equation. But we'll probably be more okay with diversity. I think it will have good effects on America as a whole when we're talking about our systematic pride. That way, the people that are participating in our country, not only did we liberate a country, we're closing the gap. Now we can get Mexico on par. You see what I mean? And that will stop all these drugs and the cartels. It'll have a trickle effect. People will feel more free to go across the border without prejudice. And then it'll give them a sense of community, like they're connected to the most powerful nation on the planet. It'll empower them. And then all we have to do is do it Brazil.
The emperor he just defined the imperial disease. Literally, that's what you just defined.
Yeah, why do you want
I'm
to
just
take
saying
over
this is what it is.
all of South America?
It's not.
Can I ask a more fundamental question of you?
Yeah, go ahead, Mrs. Balderson.
Maybe I misunderstood you, but it sounded like what you're sort of envisioning is America, not North and South America with different countries, but America. So I guess my question is let's just pretend that tomorrow all of North and South America become America.
Including Greenland.
How are we going to defend that? How are we going to establish a sense of nationalism, a sense that we're all one when we've been warring for years?
Ideologically, you defend it ideologically.
No,
it's
literally
What
Yeah,
this
it's
is
the
La Raza,
it's the
okay?
liberal ideology. It's the Western ideal. That's how you would present it.
No, we have to remember each one of those countries.
You've had Central and South American countries, you know, having their kind of discourse and arguments on who's better, who's whatever, you know. But you know what? When it comes to when they have to come together, they all call La Raza, you know, the people, you know. So there's a similar sentiment, right? When you certainly, you know, intermingling, there's some certain differences and stuff, but when it comes to rallying around a greater force outside of themselves, then they have a relationship and identity to that as well.
I think
I thought we were against immigration.
Guys, I think the biggest issue
Now
you
we
guys should
want-
be attacking him on is the detrimental
It's not
outcomes
about
that he-
immigration.
Kind reminder manner. Ghosty was talking, and what did I say if a lady starts talking? What did I say, man?
I don't know.
Today, I'm not a lady, and all the other ladies, they get to do, they get to abuse me and talk over me and do whatever they want to me tonight.
Okay, so Trump has been running on immigration since 2016 about keeping literally mostly South Americans out of our country. And now you're talking about just making them a part of the country. What if they don't want to be a part of the U.S.?
Why are they coming
Exactly.
here? Why are they coming here if they don't want to be here? Why not just make their here too?
Well, first of all, not
I
all
just
of them
think
are.
that
Now, see, look, check it out. Look, hear me out. You're wondering how
Hold
the work.
on. Mrs. Balderson was
I'll
trying
shut
to say something, and then back to Ghosty because I think she was trying to respond as well. Mrs. Balderson.
I just think that hypocrisy is amazing, given the fact that the administration 8 years ago or however long ago was saying that, you know, we've got to close the border because everybody south of the border is a bunch of rapists and criminals. So I'm not really sure what changed overnight. All of a sudden they're our best friends. Like, I'm not saying that I have this problem with people. I don't, but that's a really interesting ideological change on our neighbors to the south, where before they're a bunch of awful people that need to be deported, and now we're just all going to be friendly and happy. And
I think it was the people.
Well, if I
coming
can use
over
my influence
illegally.
to go and make them into better people, I certainly will.
I think they were talking about the people that were coming over here illegally, and there was a lot of issues with the border being unmonitored because there was a lot of riffraff coming through that we didn't need in there. But there was still some good people coming through, as always. There's always good people coming through, so we can't discount them. Huh?
So, Emperor, the justification to ruin people's lives is because it benefits America.
Oh my
No,
God!
I never said any of that.
Hold up. Wasn't there another dog up here earlier?
Look at the fat baby.
Oh,
Okay.
puppies.
There was.
The doggies. I saw the other one earlier, and I was like, "Wait a minute, she changed the dog."
Look at the fat baby.
He's here too.
All right, back to Ghosty. Ghosty, you were trying to chime in on something, and you were rudely interrupted by a man.
No, I mean, I kind of agree with what Manor is saying. Like, taking over countries never brings people together.
Yeah,
That's
what's the
never how it's worked. I also just think it rationally makes no sense. Like, logistically makes zero sense to start taking over all these countries. We don't need to expand our country. There's no reason for it. So I don't even know, like, why we're talking about it, honestly.
Spain came across the other side of the world and connected and